Chapter 12-16. On the spaceship, the Golden Dragon race's experts swarmed out. The ones at the front were the genetic warriors. They wore the standard armor of the Golden Dragon race and held laser energy swords in their hands. Their battle intent was astonishing. Genetic warriors usually had two cultivation paths. The most common one was to strengthen their genes and cultivate strength-based martial art. The equipment on their bodies could be mass-produced using high technology. Lin Feng glanced around. The 4-element atomic cannon had already been retracted. Purple light flashed in his hands. The leaders were 2 level 4 genetic warriors and 6 level 3 genetic warriors. Among them, the level 4 genetic warriors were weaker than silver plate experts of the same level. They were equivalent to the peak of silver spinning. As for the level 3 genetic warriors, their combat power was generally around the high level of silver spinning. Genetic warriors were formed quickly and required little effort. Their combat power relied more on external items. Their realm was generally lower. Lin Feng made the first move. Purple-eyed demon death knell. Instantly, a purple demonic light lit up the universe. Lin Feng's eyes turned into a transparent purple light. Demonic runes split open one after another. With the preemptive strike of the realm power, Lin Feng waved his hand and the purple-eyed demon death knell descended. Purple-eyed suppression. Now, Lin Feng could already unleash a portion of the purple-eyed demon death knell's power. The purple-eyed demon death knell became several times bigger in the air and spun rapidly. The purple light turned into drops of meteors and fell down. The sound of the demonic bell reverberated. Bang! The purple-eyed demon death knell descended heavily. The demonic sound reverberated. The realm power covered the area and instantly trapped one of the level 4 genetic warriors. Currently, Lin Zhan was like a golden lion roaring. His cosmic system level combat power instantly erupted as he faced the other level 4 genetic warrior. Sharjah opened his eyes. Heaven-moving Buddha wheel. His lake blue eyes were crystal clear. He was like a Buddha sitting in the garden of 2 trees. The leaves danced in the wind. A huge Buddha wheel appeared in front of Sharjah's chest. The space around him changed. With his power alone, he trapped the remaining 6 level 3 genetic warriors. In the distance, laser beams shot out rapidly with a shio sound. The Golden Dragon race naturally wouldn't sit still and wait for their death. Their genetic soul warriors were much stronger than the genetic warriors. Genetic warriors were only a cultivation path for genetic soul warriors who weren't talented enough. The truly talented members of the Golden Dragon race all cultivated the path of genetic soul warriors. Even if he couldn't control realm force, he could still use realm force weapons to attack. He could use his innate ability to control extremely complicated technological weapons, such as laser guns, laser cannons, and so on. Huadivine runes appeared and Lin Feng's eyes changed. The heaven-hating demon armor skeleton roared, and a black light flashed. The power of the devil blood was instantly activated. Facing the laser beams in front of him, Lin Feng did not dodge. Dang 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 dang, the heavens spite demon armor blocked the level 3 and level 4 laser beams. While the Golden Dragon race members were stunned, Lin Feng dashed forward as fast as lightning. To stab the Emperor Lin Feng's saber technique had already returned to its original state. It was a simple saber move, but it was much stronger than it had been 5 years ago. His saber heart, which was at the peak of the 6th level, had raised his saber move to a whole new level. Moreover, the transformation of the Source Star realm after reaching the cosmic system state also enhanced the power of this strike. He directly attacked the nearest genetic soul warrior. Lin Feng was not greedy. He was well aware of the current situation. This saber move definitely couldn't kill Jin Hao, but it could seriously injure or even kill a genetic soul warrior. Kill one, earn one. Bang! A dot of light appeared in front of him and suddenly exploded. Lin Feng grunted and was immediately forced back by the airflow. He thought to himself, powerful. A level 3 soul warrior is so strong. Even in a disadvantageous position, he could still forcibly survive. However, this was a move similar to mutual destruction. He was very close to Jin Hao just now, and he wasn't much better off. Moreover, he had already displayed the power of this saber move. As he retreated, Lin Feng glanced at the level 3 soul warrior. He had already vomited blood and fainted. They were injured to begin with. After fighting face to face, Lin Feng became more and more certain. Take care of one first. During the attack just now, Lin Feng had already determined his target. The one at the back was Jin Hao. In front of him were 5 genetic soul warriors, one of whom was a level 4 soul warrior. Take care of one, 4 left. Death Sun was helping Sharjah. Li Poji had also launched an attack, but he only attracted the attention of the level 3 soul warrior. Jin Hao floated in the air, his gloomy eyes sneering again and again. A few ants, he didn't need to take action. Boom! 2 beams of laser energy that were even more condensed and pure than before shot over. The 2 level 3 soul warriors were abnormally furious. Above them, the only level 4 soul warrior's eyes flashed with a white light, sinister and terrifying. Swish! Lin Feng's eyes flashed and he pulled back to put some distance between them. The 2 level 3 soul warriors furiously attacked. The power of their technological weapons was not bad, but they were not flexible enough to break Lin Feng's heaven-hating demon armor. This made them even angrier. At this moment, bang! The air shook again and again. The level 4 soul warrior made his move. His realm weapon was a silver-black ring, incomparably sharp. It fiercely shot out and turned into 2 crescent moons in the air. In another instant, each crescent moon seemed to be cut into 10 pieces by a knife, from 2 to 20. They intersected and changed directions rapidly. The level 4 soul warrior carefully controlled them. I've been waiting for you, Lin Feng shouted. In an instant, his body was like a phantom, overlapping. Suddenly, an enormous creature appeared in the air. It was like a giant star beast. Its appearance covered the entire starry sky. Howl! With a violent roar, the earth shook. This giant beast was wearing a sinister skeleton armor, covered in scales as hard as alloy. On its back, the image of a black tortoise could be vaguely seen. Its aura was extraordinary. The level 3 soul warrior was dumbfounded. Tyrannosaurus dragon clone. 5 years had passed. It wasn't just the humans on Earth who had improved. The Tyrannosaurus dragon clone, whose aptitude was even stronger than Lin Feng's, had improved at a godly speed. Although the energy needed to break through was terrifying, it had the 10,000 origin mustard stone and endless universe crystals. This was nothing at all. As early as a year ago, the Tyrannosaurus dragon clone had evolved from an ancient beast to a star beast. Star beasts were originally powerful because their cultivation was difficult. They were innately compatible with the energy of the universe. At the same level, they were stronger than humans and demons. The Tyrannosaurus dragon clone's strong body was even more terrifying. The level 2 Tyrannosaurus dragon clone's combat strength was comparable to the main body. And in terms of endurance, Lin Feng was far inferior to the Tyrannosaurus dragon clone. Black Tortoise Big Dipper Seal. The Tyrannosaurus dragon clone was like a war fortress. Chi. The Tyrannosaurus dragon clone waved its claws and roared. Its tail whipped out like a whip and went straight for the 3 soul warriors who had just attacked Lin Feng's main body. Whether it was its claws or its tail, the attack carried a tyrannical blade intent. The most terrifying thing wasn't its body. It was the soul of a human controlling its powerful body. Boom. Chapter 12:17. Whoosh. Jin Hao, who had been watching from the sidelines, suddenly changed his expression. His blue eyes were instantly filled with white light. He naturally wouldn't allow his subordinates to be killed by space beasts. As the young patriarch of the Golden Dragon race, Jin Hao was no ordinary person. Not only was he talented, but he also had a powerful realm weapon. White Longmu. As a 4-elemental genetic soul warrior, Jin Hao's White Longmu could directly attack. His eyes sharpened, and he quickly locked onto the Tyrannosaurus before he attacked. His enormous body suddenly stopped, as if he had been petrified. With a sizzling sound, Jin Hao's eyes shone brightly. Dong! A soul-piercing bell rang. Jin Hao's body trembled, and Bai Longmu's light beam was cut off. A black shadow dashed out from the shadows of the universe. A blood-red weapon was burning in his hand, and a golden skeleton armor covered his body. A third eye split open on his forehead. Roar! Like an ugly and ferocious bone dragon, it descended with burning flames. Blood Shadow Li Poji was pleasantly surprised. Lin Feng's expression didn't change. The Heaven's Spite demon armor shone brightly, and a red light flashed in front of his chest. A dark demonic light poured out of his eyes. Instantly, a huge force spread from the bottom of his heart, and his body shook violently. Bang! 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 Lin Feng blocked the attacks of 3 genetic soul warriors, but he was unharmed. At this moment, the Tyrannosaurus clone's combat power erupted. Close combat was its forte. Its claws flashed past, and 2 level 3 genetic soul warriors were sent flying, vomiting blood. The level 4 genetic soul warrior blocked the tail whip. The Tyrannosaurus clone took advantage of the momentum to take a step forward. Ta! Its enormous body brought great power. The tail whip slashed through the air, and a clear blade heart force struck the 2 level 3 genetic soul warriors who had already been injured by the claws. One died immediately, and the other fainted from serious injuries. Despicable. Although the level 4 genetic soul warrior was caught unprepared, he still had the power to protect himself. A silver light flashed, turning into 3 rings of light that blasted toward the Tyrannosaurus clone. But in an instant a terrifying force locked onto him. The level 4 genetic soul warrior turned around, and Bai Longmu's eyes shone. Clang! The black blade of Sin condensed into a powerful force. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Lin Feng split into 3, and the 3 demonic shadows were immediately used. In a split second the level 4 soul warrior was caught unprepared. Boom, 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 the 3 blades exploded at the same time. The level 4 soul warrior let out an explosive shout, and his entire body blossomed with silver light. Although the defense of a level 4 genetic soul warrior was strong, Lin Feng's attack was not the least bit weak. Under normal circumstances, he would have high-level silver spiral combat strength. Once he activated the Heaven's Hatred state, his combat strength would reach low-level silver disc, enough to break through a defense. Despicable thing. The level 4 genetic soul warrior's complexion was unsightly, but he still managed to block the attack. But in the next moment, the enormous beast in front of him had already arrived, its claws tearing at him like lightning. No! His shrill voice carried the message of death. Lin Feng wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His footsteps didn't stop. Although he had been injured in the battle just now, he didn't have time to waste. His side was still at a great disadvantage. As he retreated, he swept his gaze over the situation. Li Poji was evenly matched with the level 3 genetic soul warrior. Although his big brother Lin Zhan's combat strength wasn't bad, he could only barely defend against a level 4 genetic warrior. On the other hand, the combination of Sharjah and Death Sun was actually able to hold their ground and not be defeated. One was defending and controlling, while the other was waiting for an opportunity to launch a sneak attack. Although this was their first time working together, their cooperation was flawless, and the most important thing was Jin Hao. Help Li Poji. Lin Feng only had one sentence. As his voice rang in Blood Shadow's ears, Lin Feng's saber had already slashed out, replacing Blood Shadow as he faced Jin Hao. He was very grateful for Blood Shadow's help this time. However, Blood Shadow wasn't Jin Hao's match. Emperor Stabbing Strike. Lin Feng's attack was relatively fast. Jin Hao snorted coldly. While attacking Blood Shadow, he didn't put Lin Feng in his eyes at all. But in the next second, Lin Feng's figure split into three. His dark origin suddenly became sharp. With the heaven's hatred state increasing his absolute strength, Lin Feng's strength wasn't inferior to Jin Hao's. Like the convergence of a triangle, three spirals tore through space. 4-star profound intent, hatred-extinguishing spiral rumbling sounds rang out as an astonishing devouring power erupted. This move was even stronger than the Emperor's stabbing strike that had killed the level 4 genetic soul warrior. But Jin Hao's strength was also more terrifying. BZZT. Powerful energy protected his body. Silver light blossomed. Jin Hao's lips curled into a cold smile. Although the three hatred-extinguishing spirals were desperately consuming powerful energy, they couldn't keep up with the speed of energy replenishment. He had plenty of treasures. On the other hand, Lin Feng was repelled by the rebounding force. Jin Hao raised his eyebrows. His disdainful expression was activated as his realm force weapon instantly appeared. A furious roar resounded in his ears as the attack of the tyrant dragon clone arrived. That terrifying power was even stronger than Lin Feng's hateful heaven form. Combining attack and defense, the tyrant dragon clone's powerful attack suppressed Jin Hao. Lin Feng didn't make a move. A golden true dragon totem treasure appeared in his hand. His realm force secretly condensed. Boom boom boom, the fierce battle was in full swing. The tyrant dragon clone had a physical advantage, while Jin Hao had a level and equipment advantage. The attacks became more and more intense. Now's the time. Lin Feng took advantage of the opening. His realm sea churned. Endless realm force used the true dragon's origin in his chest as a medium and quickly emerged. A golden dragon roared into the sky. First attack, Realm Sea Hidden Dragon. The golden dragon flew out from the Realm Sea. Lin Feng's eyes were filled with purple light. The change in realm force caused the golden dragon to change as well. It was actually suffused with a faint purple color as it attacked Jin Hao. Innate skill, true dragon's purple eyes. Qi. The golden dragon's power was boundless. Lin Feng had just taken control of the true dragon realm's Yanbing and was already quite powerful. Boom boom boom, Jin Hao was caught off guard and was devoured by the golden dragon. He spat out blood and his expression became even more ferocious. He retreated while whistling loudly. Lin Feng was startled and suddenly woke up. Go! All of you go! Lin Feng was practically shouting. A terrifying aura suddenly descended. Lin Feng had been suspicious since just now. Ho said there were 15 enemies, then there should be 15. But now there were only 14. Where did the last one go? It was impossible for him to have disappeared into thin air. Either he was dead, or he was still hiding and had yet to appear. Right now, this aura had already descended. Clang. A powerful force blocked Lin Feng's pursuit of Jin Hao. The person who came had a square face and looked ordinary, but in truth, he was not. He was Jin Hao's chief protector and the vice commander of this expedition to Earth. Han Mountain. A true level 4 genetic warrior. A level 4 genetic warrior might not be as powerful as a silver plate primary martial artist or a genetic soul scholar when they were at the same level, but that was only a probability, not a certainty. Clang. The giant hammer fell. Han Mountain was as still as a mountain, but it moved like a violent gust of wind. It blocked Lin Feng's attack directly, displaying its extraordinary mastery of the strength skill and the heart-hammering realm. A pair of cold eyes and a gigantic body stood tall and straight. Chapter 12-18. Genius 1 Second. Remember Online, providing you with interesting novels to read. It was not easy to defeat Jin Hao in a one-on-one battle. Now, there was another level 4 genetic warrior with a giant hammer. His chances of winning were slim. Lin Feng knew his opponent's strength as soon as they started fighting. This was a powerful warrior who was on par with Jin Hao or even more powerful. He had an advantage against genetic soul warriors, but against a genetic warrior Lin Feng stared at the man with the giant hammer. His chances of winning were less than 10%. With Jin Hao's help, he would definitely lose. Big Brother and Brother Li could handle a level 3 genetic warrior, but only he could fight against a level 4 genetic warrior. Han Mountain, kill him for me! Jin Hao glared at Lin Feng with rage. He was the young tribe leader of the Golden Dragon tribe. How could he bear to suffer such a huge loss when he just arrived on Earth? Lin Feng glanced at Jin Hao. Suddenly, sizzle sizzle sizzle, the space trembled. Lin Feng's body suddenly blurred. Jin Hao's expression changed. The white light in his eyes shone brightly. At that moment, Han Shan's giant hammer rumbled as if it was splitting the sky and earth. It almost teleported and smashed down heavily. Bang! Lin Feng's afterimage was shattered and scattered like water droplets. Not only did Lin Feng disappear, Li Poji, Lin Feng, son of death, and the others also disappeared. The only one who did not use this method to leave was Blood Shadow. He had already left when Lin Feng attacked Jin Hao. In the blink of an eye, everyone was gone. What's going on? Jin Hao roared. It's space technology, young tribe leader. Han Shan's expression was serious. Even the Black Wolf Gold Empire might not have such profound space technology. Jin Hao gritted his teeth. Are you saying that Earth has star system technology? Han Shan answered, I'm not sure. Han Shan looked around and said in a low voice, but we suffered great losses in this battle. The spaceship was also damaged. I think we should report this to the tribe leader and let the tribe make a decision. Jin Hao's eyes were filled with unwillingness, but he was not a stubborn person. He still nodded. He snorted angrily and returned to the spaceship. Earth, Elemental City. 5 figures appeared one after another. They were none other than Lin Feng and the others who had just fought with the Golden Dragon tribe. There were wounds all over his body. Even though the battle hadn't been going on for long, the intensity of the battle was beyond imagination. Among them, Sharjah and Death Day were the ones who suffered the heaviest injuries. It was 2 against 6, especially Sharjah, who was the controller. His face was pale. Even Lin Zhan's Divine Power Golden Saint robe was slightly damaged. His left shoulder drooped down, and his flesh was badly mangled. The ones with the lightest injuries were Lin Feng and Li Poji, who were only slightly injured. Well done, Dr. Jin, Lin Feng said. Although Professor Jin was not strong, he was very useful. Without his support, the 5 of them would not have been able to retreat safely. Although the Bermuda Triangle space technology that he had cracked in the past 5 years required a huge amount of energy to use, it was worth it. Life was priceless. Especially since there were very few powerhouses on Earth right now, 1 death meant 1 less powerhouse. This is what I should do. Professor Jin bowed slightly. What a pity. Li Poji sighed. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. They were so close to eliminating Jin Hao and the others without having to carry out the backup plan. Although they had successfully escaped, they had left behind a mess that would cause a lot of trouble in the future. Professor Jin said, Jin Hao is very cautious. He won't take risks easily. They suffered heavy casualties this time. Even if they don't wait for reinforcements, it will take them a while to recover. Most importantly, we destroyed their spaceship. Lin Feng and the others were overjoyed. The destruction of the spaceship could buy them some time. If they used the spaceship to fly at light speed, they could arrive in 1 or 2 days. But without the spaceship, even if the powerhouses of the Golden Dragon tribe knew the location of Earth, it would still take them about 10 days to arrive. I wonder if they destroyed the Universal Communication and Life Radar, Lin Feng said. Without the Universal Communication, they couldn't contact the Golden Dragon tribe. Without the Life Radar, they couldn't find the location of Earth. In the spaceship, besides the crystal core and the power source, the Universal Communication and Life Radar were very important parts. Xiaoyi is monitoring them in real time. She will report to me as soon as there is any movement, Professor Jin said. Lin Feng glanced around. Separated by a tempered demagnetized glass, Xiaoyi was staring at the screen in the research room of the elemental region. She was giving orders to the other researchers. Those who could enter the elemental region were all geniuses with a brain expanse of 100. This place would be the origin of Earth's technology. How many people are left in the Golden Dragon tribe? Lin Feng asked. Jin Hao's injuries aren't light, but he has no problem healing. His guard, Han Mountain, is very strong and not easy to deal with. Professor Jin could clearly see the battle through Lin Feng. He naturally recognized Han Mountain. The only real threat is the two of them. 2 genetic soul warriors were killed by Master. The other 2 have lost their ability to fight. There is only one 3-element genetic soul warrior left. I'm sorry, Li Poji said apologetically. He was in charge of the 3-element genetic soul warrior. You've done very well, Brother Li, Lin Feng said with a smile. The 8 genetic warriors didn't suffer many injuries. One was killed by death anniversary and one was severely injured by Sharjah. The other genetic warriors are full of energy. Their combat power isn't damaged, Professor Jin said. I've done my best. Lin Feng nodded. In other words, there were still the strongest Jin Hao and Han Mountain, 1 genetic soul warrior, and 6 genetic warriors. 9, Li Poji said. Li Poji said, 5 against 15, and you managed to kill 6 of them and escape unscathed. You've won the battle beautifully. That's right. Lin Zhan laughed heartily. I hope they'll find Earth a little later. In a few months, our strength will increase by another level. What if they find us soon? Sharjah, who had been silent all this while, spoke. His crystal-clear eyes didn't become hazy because of his injuries. His willpower was very strong. We'll fight them to the death. Lin Zhan's eyes were filled with determination. Sharjah looked at Lin Feng. There's no special way. Lin Feng shook his head. It's as you said. As long as our strength increases, we won't have to be afraid of Jin Hao and the others. We've been able to survive before. This time, we'll definitely be able to resolve the crisis. Lin Feng revealed a smile to the crowd. He was the leader. He had to boost everyone's morale and influence them. There was a big difference between doing something with confidence and without confidence. Even so, Lin Feng was actually very nervous. It wasn't because of Jin Hao and Han Mountain, but because Earth's coordinates had been exposed. Although the Golden Dragon race couldn't enter the dark matter tunnel without anyone's guidance, they could still enter from the original universe. 9.5 years. It wasn't a long time for a star system state. We can only take one step at a time. Lin Feng thought. The first thing he had to do now wasn't to avoid Jin Hao's team. Even if they didn't look for Earth, he had to kill them as soon as possible. Otherwise, if they led the Golden Dragon race into the dark matter tunnel, it would be troublesome. To be continued. 8. Chapter 12-19. The border of the solar system. Jin Hao was busy in the spaceship alone. Beside him was the only genetic soul warrior who was not seriously injured. Although he lived like a prince, Jin Hao's ability was not bad. Repairing the spaceship was not a problem for him. Ding ding dong, there seemed to be pairs of invisible hands in the air. Jin Hao used his innate talent, White Eye, and it was extremely precise. Every part was not even off by 0.001 millimeters. Damn Earthlings. Do they think I can't find Earth just because they destroyed the life radar? Too naive. They left so quickly because they were afraid and guilty. Jin Hao's actions were clean and neat. He could even multitask. The damaged outer shell of the spaceship was being rebuilt bit by bit. The alloy was melted, solidified, and refined. Every step was perfect. Beside him were genetic warriors who were soaking in gene fluid to recover their strength. In this battle, they had completely lost. Not only did they suffer great losses, but they were also beaten up from head to toe. In the end, they did not even touch the enemy's hair. It could be said that they lost so badly that they even lost their pants. Soon done. Jin Hao clapped his hands, but his face turned pale. He was already injured by Lin Feng. Now, he even used up his innate talent to cultivate the life radar. He was very weak. Jin Hao gritted his teeth. He was not an ordinary person since he could become the young tribe leader. He endured the pain and activated the life radar. The life radar quickly lit up and let out a pleasant sound. Han Shan, who was sitting cross-legged behind Jin Hao, opened his eyes and stood up. In an instant, Han Shan's eyes brightened. A 6-star life planet. Jin Hao sneered. It's very close to us. There's only one life form in the star system. Should we attack? Han Shan asked. No need. Jin Hao said, it's also good for us if we take it down. If we sell Earth to the Black Wolf Gene Empire, we'll be selling the solar system as well. We won't be able to get anything from another 6-star life planet. Besides, in front of a 9-star life planet, a mere 6-star life planet is nothing. Han Shan nodded. The life radar was like a life form. It emitted magnetic waves to detect the life forms on the planet. The detection speed was naturally faster if it was close, but it was slower if it was far away. Fortunately, the solar system was not big. Found it. Jin Hao's eyes widened and there was a fire in them. At that moment, the life radar shone brightly and let out a joyful cry, because it had found a rare 9-star life planet. Han Mountain, Jin Hao growled. Young tribe leader, please give your orders. Han Shan wrapped his fist in his palm. I order you to attack Earth alone. You must take it down. Jin Hao shouted. Han Mountain accepts your orders. His voice was forceful, and before it could even shake the air, Han Mountain had already disappeared. Jin Hao squinted his eyes, and a bright light suddenly shot out from the slits of his eyes. Let him explore the way first. Earth may be more troublesome than expected. If he succeeds, of course it'll be good. If he doesn't succeed, the spaceship will have been repaired by then, and he'll guide Father to send more strong people over. Be careful, be careful. To be able to become the young master of the Golden Dragon race, Jin Hao did things flawlessly. Earth. There was no nervousness on the eve of a great battle. Battles that happened at the borders of the solar system were rarely known. Lin Zhan and Sharjah returned to Zeus Temple. Even though the Elemental Sea City had outstanding technology that could help martial artists recover their combat strength quickly, Lin Zhan and Sharjah were guardians of the Leo and Virgo zodiac. The guardian zodiacs was their home. With the baptism of Zeus' divine power, they would soon return to their peak. Brother Lin, what's your plan? Li Poji asked. I don't know either. We have to wait for the enemy to take action before we can decide what to do. Lin Feng frowned. He glanced at the transparent tempered glass. Xiao Yi and Professor Jean were discussing. They didn't look so good. Yen Bing from the True Dragon Realm. Lin Feng pursed his lips. The realm weapon that his teacher gave him was very powerful. Even though it was only the first attack, the power of the hidden dragon in the realm sea was already quite impressive. If he attacked Jin Hao when he was a silver plate elite who had opened his third chakra, then he wouldn't have to worry so much now. Soon, the tempered glass door opened, and Professor Jean walked out with a serious expression. Lin Feng forced himself to calm down. Even if it was bad news, he would deal with it as it came. From the beginning to the end, he had never thought of running away. One good news and one bad news, Professor Jean said. The bad news, Lin Feng said. Professor Jean said, according to the detection, the strong warriors of the Golden Dragon race have already left for Earth. How long will it take? Lin Feng asked. With his current speed, he'll arrive in 94 hours, Professor Jean said. Lin Feng was stunned. That's the good news, Professor Jean said. Only Han Mountain will go to Earth. We'll be under less pressure. Lin Feng frowned. He thought about it and soon understood what the Golden Dragon race was up to. As expected of the young master of the Golden Dragon tribe, he can attack and defend at will. Lin Feng thought. Without the spaceship, it wouldn't be easy for the Golden Dragon race to go to Earth on their own. If all the elites went together, they would be dragged down by the slowest genetic elite. But there was only Han Mountain at the moment. Their combat power seemed to be greatly reduced, but they could save at least 3 or 4 times the time. They wouldn't give Earth any time to breathe. Besides, even if Han Mountain failed, Jean Hao could still leave quickly. At that time, he only needed to guide the strong warriors of the Golden Dragon race from outside the solar system to enter the dark matter dimension. Jean Hao himself didn't need to take any big risk. 94 hours, less than 4 days, Li Poji mumbled. His head was spinning. He couldn't think of any other way. The previous battle had gathered the strongest forces of Earth and used all their trump cards, but in the end, they were still defeated by Han Mountain alone. This was the importance of the strong. Master, do we need to carry out Plan C? Professor Jean asked. Plan C was to escape in the worst-case scenario. They would preserve their strength and wait for a chance in the future. Not yet. Lin Feng paused and said, but be prepared. If you don't see me in 3 days, carry out Plan C immediately. Yes, Master, Professor Jean answered. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. He was ready. He had personally experienced how strong Han Mountain was. It was impossible for them to win in a one-on-one battle. If he couldn't, the other elites on Earth couldn't either. So even if Han Mountain was the only one from the Golden Dragon race, it was enough to flatten Earth. He had no other choice. Brother Lin, what are you doing? Li Poji didn't understand. I'm taking the last step. Lin Feng turned around and stepped forward. Either we die or we protect Earth. His voice was sonorous. Lin Feng's back was firm and persistent. He was not afraid of death. To be continued. Chapter 12:20. Ancient Greece, Zeus Temple. It had a long history like the Great Wall of the Saint Relic. After countless years of inheritance, it still stood tall. The simple and unadorned stone pillars emitted an exquisite radiance, displaying a power akin to the might of the heavens. Beneath the Temple of Zeus, the 12 golden steps spiraled, firmly guarding this sacred site, eternally unchanging. Lin Feng stepped into this area. He looked up at the divine runes on the stone pillars. Mysterious power filled every corner of the Zeus temple. This was the cultivation holy land of the European Union's powerful beings. 94 hours was very short. Lin Feng couldn't think of any other way to improve his strength in such a short time. It would be the same even if he entered the strongest galactic civilization in the true Dragon Dark region. But there was hope here. Ancient Divine Realm. Although he had only stayed in the Ancient Divine Realm for 24 hours and encountered endless dangers, he had gained a lot. After coming out of the Ancient Divine Realm, his strength had increased greatly and led Earth to successfully survive the calamity. After a flash, Lin Feng stepped into the Ares Temple. This was the last step he could take. It was either he died or protect Earth. Ares Temple. It was an unfathomable sea of stars. Stepping in the boundless universe, it was as if there was a transparent surface under his feet. He floated in the void. Broken meteorites and shooting stars could be seen everywhere. Senior Lion. Lin Feng stared straight ahead with a profound expression. In the depths of the boundless space, a handsome man with long purple hair walked out slowly. The Ares gold saint garment wrapped around his body, and the horns that looked like they were made of pure gold shone brightly. Pope Leon. His aura was slightly weaker than Lin Zhan and Sharjah. The gold saint garment also lacked the surging power. There was a huge difference between the star state and the galactic state. King of Huaxia, your presence brings light to the Ares Temple, Leon said with a smile. Senior, you're too polite. Lin Feng said, to be honest, I came to the Ares Temple this time because I hope that you can send me back to the ancient divine realm to train and increase my strength. It has been 13 years. Leon sighed. Yes, it's been 13 years. Lin Feng smiled. When he entered the ancient divine domain, he was only 19 years old. In the blink of an eye, 13 years had passed. There were clear rules for entering the primordial divine domain. Every 10 years, the Pope would only allow one cultivator to enter. Are there any spots left? Lin Feng asked. Leon nodded. Yes, as I reach the star state, the power of the temple I can activate also increased. Not only is the time taken to return to the past doubled, but the time cog can also be lengthened. Lin Feng was slightly taken aback. Suddenly, his eyes lit up. That means I can stay for 48 hours. The last time he entered the primordial divine domain, he only had a mandatory 24 hours. Yes, Ares Leon said, but at the same time, the next time you enter the ancient divine domain, it will be much longer. How long? Lin Feng asked. Leon said, more than 20 years, and it depends on how many years ago you returned to. I don't know, Lin Feng said. He didn't understand the time gear that Leon had mentioned before. Ares Leon laughed. Don't tell me King Huaxia still doesn't know where the ancient divine domain is? Lin Feng was taken aback. He should know where the ancient divine domain was. Thoughts flashed across his mind quickly, and Lin Feng shuddered when he remembered how many years ago Leon had mentioned Earth. Ares Leon nodded. To be precise, it's the original Earth. No wonder. Lin Feng suddenly understood. No wonder the ancient divine domain was so powerful, and no wonder he could sense the true dragon saint power. Turned out that he was on Earth, but the Earth back then was different from the Earth now. Back then, I could only help you return to the Earth 1 billion years ago. Now, I should be able to help you return to the Earth 5 billion years ago. Ares Leon's golden horns shone brightly. But which time period you return to is up to you. What's the difference? Lin Feng asked. The grade of life on Earth is different, and the density of spirit energy is different. Ares Leon said, when Earth was born, it was a 9-star life planet, but as life forms were born, they would absorb the life force and essence of the life forms. The stronger the life forms, the faster the absorption. When the king of Huaxia returned to the Earth 1 billion years ago, the grade of life forms was 6-star premium. And the Earth 5 billion years ago, the grade of life forms was 6-star premium. 6-star premium, 6-star premium, 6-star premium. Lin Feng looked at Lion, and the latter continued, habitable planets are divided into 1 to 9 stars, and each star is further divided into 6 levels according to the size of the planet, specifications, the difficulty of nurturing life seeds, and so on. They are further divided into ordinary, fine, rare, top, perfect, and legendary. Lin Feng nodded. Every planet was different. There were as many planets in the universe as sand and stones, and it was difficult to distinguish between 1 to 9 stars. The grade of life forms on Earth did not decrease by much even with a difference of 500 million years. Lin Feng said. However, from 1 billion years ago to the present, the grade of life forms had decreased the most, from 6-star premium to 2-star. Leon nodded. Because during that period there were not many powerful life forms. It was only when the second generation of humans was born 1 billion years ago that the grade of life forms on Earth began to decrease rapidly. Lin Feng nodded. Earth was like a huge piece of soil, and the vegetation absorbed nutrients here. When there were more and more plants, the nutrients in the soil would gradually become insufficient. I choose 5 billion years ago. Lin Feng did not hesitate. The higher the density of spiritual energy, the faster his strength would increase. A 6-star life planet was equivalent to Nemo planet when it was just born, and it was truly overflowing with spiritual energy. It was a treasured land that could give birth to dark matter life forms. Similarly, for a 6-star life planet, the higher the grade, the stronger the spiritual energy, and the higher the possibility of birth. Dark matter experts. They were existences that could cause an earthquake in the Milky Way with a stomp of their feet. All right. Aries Leon nodded. Shall we begin now? Lin Feng was just about to nod when he suddenly had a flash of inspiration. Senior Leon, I would like to ask if the stronger you are, the longer the time it takes for me to return to the primitive Earth, and the longer the time it takes for me to return to the primitive Earth, yes. Aries Leon nodded. Lin Feng asked again. Only you can do it in the 12 palaces. No. Aries Leon said. This is not exclusive to the Aries Palace. To be precise, it is the authority of the Pope. As expected. Lin Feng said in a deep voice, I have an unexpected request. I hope Senior Lion doesn't mind. Please speak, King of Huaxia. Aries Leon said. Very quickly, Lin Feng told him everything. Leon and the rest had the authority to know. Furthermore, he had a good relationship with Leon, Sharjah and the other gold saints of the 12 palaces. They had fought side by side before. Leon pondered for a long time. Suddenly, he raised his head, his golden horns shining brightly. I promise you. Chapter 12:21. Genius 1 Second Remember Network, providing you with interesting novels to read. I will take over the Pope's position. Lin Zhan was a little stunned. There were rules for taking over the position of Pope in the Temple of Zeus. Firstly, he would choose from the 12 gold saints. Secondly, he would look at his age and experience. Thirdly, he would look at his strength. Lin Zhan was indeed the strongest among the 12 gold saints. However, his age and experience were not enough. Yes. Aries Leon smiled and said, logically speaking, even if I give up my position, Sharjah will be the one to take over the Pope's position. However, Sharjah is too injured. I'm afraid it will be difficult for him to move the gears of time. Although your experience is shallow, your character is outstanding. You even received the inheritance of the temple and activated Zeus's godly power. You have contributed a lot to the temple. You deserve to take over the Pope's position. Lin Zhan was a little flattered. To the 12 gold saints, taking over the Pope's position was a great honor. Take over, big brother. Now is not the time to be wishy-washy, Lin Feng said. Lin Zhan pondered for a long time. Suddenly, his gaze turned cold. All right, then I will take over the Pope's position. Lin Feng and Leon looked at each other and smiled. The handing over of the Pope's position required a grand ceremony. On top of that, he had to be recognized by the temple. Although the 12 gold saints were not all convinced by Lin Zhan, with Aries Leon and Virgo Sharjah supporting him, it was not a big deal. Moreover, Lin Zhan did contribute a lot to the Temple of Zeus. Although it was not a normal succession of the Pope's position, he had a good reason to do so. What's more, his strength was undeniably the most powerful. It should be about time. Lin Feng stood on the stone pillar outside the temple and waited patiently. He was not a gold saint and did not have the right to enter to observe. Seeing that the time was decreasing, he became anxious. Just the ceremony alone would take 6 hours. After that, he would be recognized by the temple and learn the rules of the temple, the Pope's power, and so on. It would take about 12 hours. Suddenly whoosh! The power of the temple descended. Lin Feng looked over. Clouds and thunder fell from the sky. The entire temple of Zeus was filled with majestic and astonishing power of thunder and lightning. The image of Zeus vaguely appeared, and its power was terrifying. The Aries Palace's divine power disappeared, and was replaced by the Leo constellation's divine power. Pathy adorned the Golden Lion Palace. Done. Lin Feng revealed a satisfied smile. 76 hours left. Lin Zhan's Temple of God legacy was faster than expected. He came out in less than 12 hours. Although he had succeeded the Pope's position, his power level had not changed much. Lin Zhan could still use a portion of the temple's power in Zeus Temple. How is it, big brother? Lin Feng asked. They were both Pope constellations, but Lin Zhan and Aries constellation Lion had a huge difference in strength. They were one level higher. This was the reason why he had suggested for Lin Zhan to become the Pope. If I push it with all my might, I can push the third section of the time gear. Lin Zhan said, you can return to Earth 2 billion years ago and stay there for 72 hours. However, you won't be able to enter again for 100 years. 2 billion years ago, 72 hours. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He had done more than lion. No problem. Lin Feng did not hesitate. 72 hours was just right. He could make use of the remaining 76 hours. 2 billion years ago I tried to sense it, Lin Zhan said seriously. At that time, the primitive Earth was a 7-star life form. It was more than 10 times more dangerous than 5 billion years ago. 7-star life planet level 2 chaos whole immortal that could give birth to a black hole expert. This was a milestone in the path of cultivation. When one's strength reached the level of a chaos whole immortal, one's body would be immortal, and one would be able to resist the tearing force of a black hole. One could enter and exit a black hole freely. This is it. Lin Feng's battle intent surged. At the border of the solar system, in a short 18 hours, the spaceship was almost completely repaired. Especially the outer shell of the spaceship, it was almost brand new. Although Jin Hao was alone, his ability was outstanding. Young Master, the level 4 genetic warrior Jin Xiong said. Speak. Jin Hao did not even turn his head. Jin Xiong said, I have something I don't understand. Jin Xiong had grown up with Jin Hao since he was young. They were the closest, and he was loyal to Jin Hao. It's about Han Mountain, Jin Hao said as he practiced the universal communication. Jin Xiong said, there are people stronger than Han Mountain in our race. Why did you choose Han Mountain, who has such a complicated background? Jin Hao smiled coldly. Of course you don't understand. Earth is a 9-star life planet, and the area beyond the solar system is filled with the shadow of war. There are too many possibilities and too many unknown factors. Choosing Han Mountain is the same as buying insurance for yourself. Oh, Jin Xiong mumbled with a frown. He still did not understand. Don't worry. Han Mountain is a member of the Golden Dragon race. He will naturally prioritize the interests of his race. He will not betray his family, Jin Hao said. Yes, young master, Jin Xiong answered. At that moment in Zeus' temple on Earth. Are you ready? Lin Zhan asked. We can begin, brother. Lin Feng stood upright with a calm expression. His eyes shone brightly. He was a little nervous, but there was more anticipation and a sense of responsibility. At that moment, he was not only shouldering himself, but also millions of Huaxia humans. Okay. Lin Zhan pointed. In an instant, a golden light shone brightly, and a powerful force exploded from the Leo constellation Golden Saint Robe. The world spun. Lin Feng's head exploded, and he was instantly swallowed by the powerful force. It was as if his soul had traveled to outer space. The time tunnel he flew through was distorted, and Lin Feng's consciousness gradually recovered from the shock. Whoosh! Lin Feng's consciousness suddenly became clear. Lin Feng's body felt incomparably heavy, and a pungent smell of burnt flesh permeated the air. Abruptly, a cold and terrifying gaze shot towards him. Lin Feng was startled, and he instinctively turned his head to look. Divine inscriptions appeared on his body. There was a gigantic monster in the distance. It looked as if it was as big as the sky. Its dark purple eyes were at least 3 meters in diameter, and there were 7 spiral horns on its head. There was 1 long horn and 6 short horns, and each horn contained terrifying lightning energy. The cold, bone-chilling gaze made Lin Feng unable to move. It was a powerful demon. A terrifying demon aura spread, and the entire ground shook violently. Soil and rocks collapsed, and scorched earth could be seen everywhere. The blue-black scales of this 7-horned monster also emitted a burning smell. Under the scales was a rough and strong body, and it was more than 10 times bigger than the T-Rex clone. In front of it, Lin Feng was like a child who had just learned how to walk. Coldness and killing intent could be seen from its eyes. Oh no! Lin Feng's expression was extremely unsightly. This was the Earth from 2 billion years ago, but every time they were teleported, they would be randomly teleported, which was very dangerous. For example, now, facing this space beast in front of him, he didn't even have the possibility to escape. Chapter 12:22. At this moment, boom! Thunder rumbled in the sky as if it was the end of the world. Lin Feng looked up and saw the terrifying thunder and lightning colliding with each other, creating a powerful magnetic field. The space shook, and the sound of explosions rose and fell one after another. It was as if electric dragons were entwined, making people shudder. In terms of the Tao of origin, it was at least a level 6 or even level 7 cultivation. It was far stronger than him. What a terrifying thunder and lightning! Lin Feng was secretly shocked. The last time he entered the primitive Earth 1 billion years ago, the extremely bad weather and living environment were still fresh in his memory, but compared to this, it paled in comparison to the Great One. The terrifying energy contained in the furious thunder could shatter him with a single blow. It can't be that powerful. Lin Feng was full of doubts. Although Earth was a 7-star life form and could produce chaotic whole immortal powerhouses, it shouldn't be so powerful just from a thundercloud. No matter what, he was still a nebula-grade powerhouse. There was no reason why he couldn't even survive. While he was thinking, clang! Thunder as thick as 10 trees blasted down, and the power of the heavens appeared, making Lin Feng suffocate. But in the next moment, the 7-horned space beast roared, and its iron hooves as thick as castles stomped on the ground, causing the earth and rocks to crack. The 7 horns condensed a thunderbolt that wasn't inferior to the thunder and directly collided with it. Boom! Like 2 meteors colliding, the light rays shone brightly. The descending heavenly lightning shattered the 7-horned galactic beast's lightning radiance and landed directly on its scales. It penetrated its defenses and shattered its scales. Its flesh was badly mutilated, and the smell of burnt flesh filled the air again. How! What a terrifying thunder! Lin Feng murmured. The 7-horned space beast let out a tearing roar, and the pain was heart-wrenching. Surging demonic aura filled the surroundings, causing sand and stones to fly. This is... Lin Feng's eyes widened. Demonic aura, it's not a space beast. Lin Feng shuddered. Space beasts walked the path of the body, the most orthodox path of the demon god. Only heaven demons that walked the path of transformation would have demonic aura. Sky demons could take human form, and their cultivation methods were very similar to humans. There were 4 stages in the cosmic system level, which were the heart refinement stage, chi refinement stage, reverting stage, and returning stage. In the reverting stage, one could transform into a cosmic beast, and in the returning stage, one could control it at will. However, even if he could transform and increase his strength, there was still a gap between him and a real astral behemoth. However, the path of heavenly demon transformation had its own advantages. When the sky demon reaches the peak of the true realm, the heaven stage will descend again. Lin Feng remembered very clearly that the path of transforming into a heaven-defying being wasn't easy to walk. There would be heavenly tribulations at the star grade, and it was the same at the nebula grade. However, there was only one nebula grade heavenly tribulation. If one could survive it, they would be reborn and officially cross over to the cosmic system state. This divine tribulation was called Demon Annihilation Tribulation. Less than 1 in 100 demon clan experts could survive the Demon Annihilation Tribulation. Hiss! Tiny wisps of origin source energy were absorbed into his body. Lin Feng's eyes instantly widened. The peaceful nether origin astral plane was shaking continuously. That was the Thunder Heart, which was the weakest between the light heart and the dark heart. Lin Feng's thunder aptitude wasn't strong. It could even be said to be mediocre and inferior to many experts on Earth. However, by chance, he helped Xiao Yun resist the lightning tribulation and absorbed the purest thunder energy. Not only did it increase his body's ability to sense and absorb thunder energy, but it also merged with the light and dark paths to form the Tai Yu Holy Qi. One was innate and the other was acquired. As his bloodline awakened again and again, the light and darkness body and the divine runes appeared. Lin Feng's light and dark aptitudes became stronger and stronger. However, his thunder aptitude only increased slowly by relying on the increase of his life level. Although he comprehended 6 origin Daos and had a 10,000 times perfect origin heart like the light heart and dark heart, he only had the form. The 10,000 times perfect origin heart was given by the origin astral plane. If he absorbed it by himself, the thunder heart in the Tai Yu origin astral plane wouldn't be able to reach the limit. Every grand Tao of lightning was only at the most basic level of quintessence cultivation. It was far inferior to the great Tao of light, not to mention the great Tao of darkness, which had the highest cultivation level. If the heart of origin was compared to a piece of ore, the dark heart in the Tai Yu origin astral plane was the essence of the ore that was perfect and shining. The light heart was an extremely pure ore, while the thunder heart was a crude ore that hadn't been refined at all. Ping ping ping. With a buzzing sound in his head, Lin Feng felt that his thunder heart was like a candle that had been lit. It lit up in an instant and thunderous roars appeared in his mind. He was immersed in the thunder origin ocean. The difference was that the comprehension of the origin Tao was directly imbued. Lightning. So this is true lightning. Lin Feng muttered lightly. In an instant, he'd already understood the true essence of lightning. Especially the Tao of cloud lightning, it was even clearer, direct, and deeply ingrained in his heart. Cloud Thunder Tao, level 2 cultivation level. Almost at the same time, the thunder heart lit up like a firework, flashing once more. The Tao of thunder explosion, the Tao of lightning, and the Tao of magnetism had all reached the second level. The thunder heart was excited, and streams of origin energy were released. His body seemed to be paralyzed by the strong thunder energy, but soon he felt incomparably comfortable. The feeling in his surroundings became even more refined and clear. Strands of thunder origin energy floated around him. Lin Feng absorbed them once more. He was completely immersed in this wonderful feeling. At this time, he completely understood that the remaining thunder origin energy around him came from the tribulation lightning. The 7-horned lightning beast was undergoing its demon annihilation tribulation. At this time, the 7-horned lightning beast didn't have the time to pay attention to Lin Feng. The demon annihilation tribulation was extremely terrifying. The 7-horned lightning beast was also heavily injured. It had to hurry up and recover. Even a second was precious. It wanted to survive. Swish! Lin Feng's eyes lit up. In a short instant, his cloud thunder Tao reached level 3. The other 5 great Daos of thunder also rapidly increased their cultivation level. His body's ability to sense the thunder origin energy also rapidly increased. Even if it was just a tiny bit of remnant thunder origin energy, it was still incomparably precious. That was the demon annihilation tribulation, the highest level of thunder energy in the star system realm. In terms of origin energy, it was level 7 thunder origin energy. Even if it was only a trace of it, it was too powerful. Moreover, if Lin Feng really absorbed this highest level of thunder energy, he wouldn't be able to withstand it. His body would have exploded and died long ago. Boom! The demon annihilation tribulation struck again. This time, not only was the cloud thunder more powerful, it was also twice as thick as the previous one. The 7-horned lightning beast roared hysterically. It madly resisted while roaring. Despite using all its strength, it was still struck until blood flowed out. It fell to the ground with a loud bang. It was very difficult to pass the demon annihilation tribulation. Wu, heavily injured, the 7-horned lightning beast's blood flowed all over the ground. Its pair of deep purple eyes no longer had any spirit. It was on its last breath. To be continued. Chapter 12:20. Demon Annihilation Tribulation. Chapter 12:23. Lin Feng raised his head and looked at the dark sky filled with thunder and lightning. He knew very well that the Demon Annihilation Tribulation was not over yet. Lin Feng's gaze once again fell on the seven-horned lightning beast that was on the verge of death. It definitely could not withstand another thundercloud. Its eyes were dim and filled with despair. Lin Feng hesitated for a moment, wondering if he should try to form a soul contract with it. But in the end, he gave up. The danger was too great. He was not afraid of the backlash, but once the soul contract was formed, the Demon Annihilation Tribulation was likely to be transferred to him, just like Xiao Yun that day. He continued to absorb. He seized the time to absorb the thunder and lightning energy. This time, the remaining thunder source energy was more and stronger. Because the heptagonal lightning monster only consumed a part of it, the remaining thunder cloud energy was naturally more. Buzz. The powerful energy paralyzed his body and made him unable to move. Lin Feng's heart trembled, and he instantly used his realm power to protect himself. In a short moment, his body returned to normal, bringing a strong sense of comfort. Lin Feng jumped back. The most important thing was safety. There was no need to be greedy and lead to danger. The thunder energy of the monster annihilation tribulation was not a joke. Even a seven-horned thunder monster at the peak of the returning stage was severely injured. Buzz, 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 the thunder cloud energy gathered again, and it was even stronger than before. Lin Feng looked at the seven-horned lightning monster that was in complete despair. He had no sympathy for it. This was nature, the most primitive survival of the fittest. The law of nature. Boom. A huge thunder cloud comparable to 100 big trees came crashing down. Lin Feng had already avoided it to avoid being caught in the crossfire. Sure enough, when the thunder cloud descended, it blasted the seven-horned lightning monster into smithereens. The consumption of the thundercloud's origin energy was not great, and it immediately spread out in all directions. Crack! Crack! The earth was swallowed by the thunder cloud energy and collapsed. With the heptagonal lightning monster as the center, the entire area was filled with extremely terrifying thunder cloud energy. It was like a spread-out area of fierce beasts. Once one entered, they would be directly torn to death. Lin Feng floated in the air in the distance. Witnessing the death of a demon clan member that was comparable to humanity's top galactic powerhouses was a mix of emotions. This was the primitive Earth. 2 billion years ago, the real primitive Earth. Hiss, hiss, although he had many feelings, Lin Feng didn't let go of this great opportunity. Even in the Milky Way, there might not be such a great opportunity to absorb the energy of the Demon Annihilation Tribulation. Gradually approaching from the outside and absorbing bit by bit, Lin Feng's strength increased with every second. Danger is often accompanied by opportunity. The way of electromagnetism, level 3 the way of thunder, level 3 the way of lightning, threefold Lin Feng's great Tao of thunder reached the third stage. The great Tao of cloud and thunder improved the fastest. This was because the demon annihilating tribulation unleashed the power of the Tao of cloud and thunder. It was the most orthodox great Tao of thunder origin. Dark Heart's growth had never been so fast before. Like a sponge constantly absorbing water, the purity of the energy gradually caught up to the light core. Lin Feng tightly pursed his lips, feeling that the true essence of the path of cloud and thunder was becoming more and more deeply imprinted in his mind. In an instant, he was enlightened. Tao of clouds and thunder, level 4 it had reached the limit of what the origin star realm could endure. Lin Feng was still improving. Although the origin star realm couldn't reach the 5th stage of cultivation, it didn't mean that it couldn't be mastered. It was like a primary school student forcibly absorbing the knowledge of a secondary school student. They could still know, but they couldn't really use it. The energy of the cloud and thunder gradually dissipated. Even if Lin Feng didn't do anything, it would disperse on its own and merge with heaven and earth. And Lin Feng's absorption accelerated the process. During this process, Lin Feng benefited greatly. He had reached all 4 stages of Thunder Origin cultivation. Not only that, but Lin Feng's body, bones, skin, and cells had also improved greatly. Even his life level and the Origin Star Realm's perception distance were affected. The energy he absorbed from the demon-annihilating tribulation this time had improved him greatly. My Tao of Clouds and Thunder cultivation can reach the 5th stage. Lin Feng was very clear. As long as his Tai Nether Origin Star Realm expanded to the 5th stage, his Tao of Clouds and Thunder would directly break through the barrier and enter the 5th stage. As for his other Thunder Origin cultivation, although it couldn't compare to the Tao of Clouds and Thunder, it was still at its peak. It was already on par with the Darkness Origin. Perhaps his Thunder aptitude still couldn't compare to the Light and Darkness Origin. After all, he had the Light and Darkness body's enhancement. However, it was much easier for him to comprehend the profound meaning than before. The most important thing was that all 4 levels of cultivation had greatly increased his life level. The Origin Star Realm's perception distance had increased greatly. Okay. Lin Feng floated in midair and landed on the huge pit below. He activated his realm power and instantly lifted the 7 spiral thunder horns of different sizes into the air. Although the 7-horned thunder beast had been struck until nothing was left, the 7 spiral thunder horns were preserved. These 7 horns should be the most precious material of the 7-horned thunder beast, Lin Feng thought to himself. He could faintly feel the essence of thunder energy contained within, but he couldn't use it now. He also didn't have the time to figure out how to use it. After storing it in the storage ring that Ho gave him, Lin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. It was a false alarm. He had almost died just now. If the 7-horned thunder beast hadn't happened to be going through its tribulation, it would have been easy for it to tear him apart with its strength. The life level here was now 7 stars. There would definitely be a lot of star system level monsters. The 72 hours were dangerous and crucial. It's only been 5 hours. Lin Feng felt as if a lifetime had passed. Every hour here was unbearable. Every minute felt like a year. Every second could be fatal. However, great risks often brought great rewards. Lin Feng slowly explored the outside. Earth 2 billion years ago was very mysterious. Everything was in a barbaric state. However, it was in such a state that there were all kinds of heavenly materials and earthly treasures that could improve one's strength by leaps and bounds. This was Lin Feng's goal. If Han Mountain and Jean Hao hadn't threatened him, he might have chosen to take it step by step. However, he had to take the risk now. Either he would die here, or the hundreds of millions of Huaxia people on Earth would die in the hands of the Jin Long race. I'll definitely find it. Lin Feng clenched his fist. If he didn't succeed, he would die trying. This was a completely unfamiliar environment. The natural disasters were even more terrifying than the last time he came. The only difference was that he could withstand them now. No matter what, he was already a star system level powerful warrior. Whoosh! Lin Feng released his realm force. He was secretly on guard. He was in a huge valley. The sky was dark and thunder was roaring. He released his realm force. He hadn't found any other life forms so far, but he had a feeling that a storm was coming. According to the laws of nature, there is a king in every region. This valley should be the territory of the 7-horned thunder beast. Otherwise, the 7-horned thunder beast wouldn't have been so brazen as to go through its tribulation here. Suddenly, Lin Feng's body trembled. The realm force he released felt as if it had been hit by a heavy hammer. Lin Feng's pupils instantly dilated. Chapter 12:24. It was a demonic elite. Lin Feng's expression changed. It was the demonic chi unique to the demonic race that could hit his realm power. The demonic elite was at least at the chi refinement level, which was equivalent to the silver plate level of humans. Let's go. Lin Feng did not hesitate. With his strength, the chances of him winning against a chi refinement level demonic elite were slim. Moreover, He was not here for battle. If he could avoid a battle, it would be best to do so. But, it's catching up. Lin Feng knew that things were not looking good. The demonic race was more in tune with the world than humans. The demonic Qi was a powerful force between the human realm power and Saint Qi, allowing the demonic race to unleash more power. The demonic elite's aura had locked onto him. It was very fast. I can't run. Lin Feng immediately judged the situation. He might be able to run for a while, but he would be caught eventually. During this time, he might run into other demonic elite. By then, he would have to fight 2 or even 3 at once. His chances would be even slimmer, so he might as well fight now. Whoosh! Purple light flashed in Lin Feng's eyes. The true dragon realm Yan Bing in his hand shone. The true dragon realm Yan Bing burst through the true dragon's vitality. Although Lin Feng's realm power was only at the silver spiral level, the power of his attack was comparable to that of a silver plate elite. Hidden dragon of the realm Serore. A golden dragon flew out. Its claws were sharp, and it went straight for a huge silver-armored monster that was coming from afar. Its size was bigger than the Tyrannosaurus clone, but it was still a far cry from the 7-horned thunderbolt monster. A pair of bloodthirsty eyes stared viciously at Lin Feng. The earth shook violently. The hidden dragon of the realm C's attack went straight for the silver-armored monster's huge head. The silver-armored monster lowered its head, and a shining silver diamond-shaped mark appeared in front of its head. Clang! There was a heavy impact. The silver-armored monster was pushed back by the hidden dragon of the realm C's powerful attack. It roared in anger, but it was not injured. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. He could clearly feel that the silver-armored monster's power was not weakened. Instead, it was strengthened by its anger. Earth monster. Lin Feng felt troubled. Such monsters were naturally good at defense and had strong bodies, such as his Tyrannosaurus clone. Rumble Lin Feng's feet trembled continuously as streams of hidden power gushed out from the depths of the earth. Instantly, the heaven-hating demon armor lit up, and the black evil saber appeared. A purple light flashed in his hand as he threw it out. Hateful form thump thump, the silver-armored beast roared as it rushed over. The earth around it rumbled as an extremely powerful earth energy condensed in the entire area, forming a resonance. At this time, the purple demonic light in the sky pressed down like Mount Tai, instantly becoming huge. Purple eye suppression, the silver-armored monster roared. A shining silver diamond-shaped mark appeared on its back, and it suddenly jumped. Pung, the purple-eyed demonic death bell trembled violently as it was sent flying by the silver-armored beast. Lin Feng's blade had already descended at this moment. It was precisely the assassin emperor's blade that had greatly increased in power. It was fast and decisive as it went straight for the silver-armored beast's weakest neck. Be it humans or monsters, this was their weakness. A bright silver mark appeared on his neck. Although Lin Feng's strike was powerful, it was as if he had struck an indestructible fortress. The tremor in the web between his thumb and forefinger made Lin Feng's saber almost fly out of his hand. Roar! The silver-armored beast became even angrier as the earth trembled. The explosive power of its huge body was astonishing. After knocking away the purple-eyed demonic death bell, it fiercely charged towards Lin Feng, who had already lost his balance. Its counterattack was exceptionally sharp. However, it collided with an afterimage. The silver-armored beast was extremely stunned. 3 demonic shadows. Lin Feng was precisely waiting for this opening. The other 2 demonic shadows appeared in a split second, one above and one below. The tips of the 10 fingers on both hands were slightly bent, and an intense black spiral appeared at the center of their palms. It displayed a devouring power, and an ear-splitting rumble sounded. 4-star profound meaning, hatred extinguishing spiral. Hua, the diamond-shaped mark appeared on its back again, where Lin Feng's attack was. However, even if it could block 1, it could not block 2. As expected, it can only be used in one place at the same time. One of Lin Feng's demonic shadows suddenly disappeared, and the other demonic shadow attacked in an instant. The black spiral was like a drill that directly drilled into the silver-armored beast's weak waist. Fresh blood splattered everywhere. However, in the next instant, Lin Feng's expression changed. The silver-armored beast's wound was like a bottomless pit, displaying an astonishing suction power, wanting to eat his hand. At this moment, its tearing roar did not sound like it was in pain, but more like excitement. Damn! Lin Feng immediately reacted, but it was already too late. Clearly, this was the silver-armored beast's innate ability. The diamond-shaped silver mark just now was like a profound intent. The demonic beasts could also comprehend profound intent. Being able to possess demonic chi meant that it already possessed intelligence not inferior to humans. Comprehending profound intents was naturally not a problem. The demonic beasts were already very compatible with one or even many types of energy in the universe. What to do? Countless methods appeared in Lin Feng's mind, but they disappeared in an instant. Attacking again would not do him any good. The silver-armored beast's body was like a swamp, and he would only sink deeper and deeper. Lin Feng's true essence condensed in his chest, and a large amount of true dragon world power surged out to help him escape. However, the silver-armored beast's suction power was still strong, and they were in a stalemate. Its own strength was too strong. There's demonic chi. It's clearly a demonic beast on the path of transformation. Why did it choose to fight in its true form? This question mark appeared in Lin Feng's mind. He could not figure it out, including the seven-horned lightning beast that went through the demonic annihilation tribulation. Until its death, it did not reveal its demonic beast form. Could it be? They are not true heavenly demons, Lin Feng thought. After all, this was the Earth from 2 billion years ago. Everything was different from the Earth now. What was present now might not have been present 2 billion years ago, and vice versa. The path of transformation was very likely a cultivation method created by the demonic beasts later on. The demonic beasts here mostly followed the rules of nature and grew according to the will of heaven. After all, the current Earth was a 7-star life form. Even the astral beasts were different from 2 billion years later. The higher the life form's level, the stronger the life soul it produces. Even if they don't walk the path of transformation, the astral beasts can still produce demonic chi. A glint flashed across Lin Feng's eyes. He didn't see much emotion in the eyes of the seven-horned lightning beast and this silver-armored beast. There was only killing, anger, and other emotions that normal beasts had. Their intelligence might not be very high. Their strength was more due to the good environment, not their natural talent or high intelligence. Let's give it a try. Lin Feng instantly took out the largest horn of the seven-horned lightning beast. The origin of thunder poured in, causing the spiral lightning to emit a strong aura. Howl! The silver-armored beast turned from a fierce tiger into a kitten in an instant. Its roar turned into a moan. Its huge body trembled non-stop, and it actually crawled down like a kitten. The suction power disappeared directly. Lin Feng was overjoyed and quickly pulled out his left hand. It was just as he had expected. Chapter 12:25. Take its life while it's down. Naturally, Lin Feng would not show mercy. The law of nature was the law of the jungle. In this valley, the seven-horned lightning monster was fully deserving of the title of king. With its unique aura, the spiral lightning horn naturally made the other monsters not dare to resist. Even if it meant death. Chi. It was too easy to kill a trembling silver-armored beast. Lin Feng heavily injured it in a few moves. Killing it was easy, but it still had many uses. Almost there. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Purple eyes of the true dragon. Lin Feng did not plan to waste his soul power and directly devoured the spirit soul of the silver-armored beast. Although it had the power of a nebula, the demon god's spirit souls were weak, and this place was no exception. Heavily injured and under pressure, Lin Feng only spent a little effort to refine and devour it. His talent soul was far stronger than the silver-armored beast. 6 hours later. Phew, Lin Feng let out a long sigh. Although it consumed a bit of soul power, it was worth it. After refining and devouring this silver-armored beast, he had a clear and intuitive understanding of the surrounding area. Just as he guessed, the king of this place was the seven-horned lightning beast. All the monsters that could potentially pose a threat to it had been completely killed by it. Other than it, the strongest were a group of Qi refinement stage monsters, including the silver-armored beast he killed. This place was like a kingdom. The king had supreme power, and the rest of the people could only listen to his orders. Even if he wanted them to die, they would not dare to resist. Well done. Lin Feng smiled. The seven-horned lightning beast had gone through many bloody massacres to establish its position as the king of this area. Those who refused to obey it were all killed and eaten. Now it was convenient for him. Closing his eyes, he could clearly feel the Tyrannosaurus clone in the 10,000 origin mustard stone comprehending a 3-star profound silver mystic square seal. It was the small silver diamond-shaped seal that the silver-armored beast used before. It could appear anywhere on the body to increase defense. The path of Earth was an extremely strong defense path, and its profound meaning showed the essence of defense. My weakest point is the profound meaning. Lin Feng was very clear that other martial artists usually obtained the cultivation of the Tao of Origin through comprehending profundities, and then used the cultivation of this Tao of Origin to comprehend other profundities. It was a path of origin combined with several profound meanings of the same level. As for the stronger ones, they had comprehended 2 or 3 origin great Taos and had several times more profound intents of the same level. This combination saved time and effort. Moreover, it was extremely strong. However, he wasn't like that. His situation was completely reversed. For example, the Great Tao of Thunder. His 6 Great Taos of Thunder had all reached the limit of a 4th-grade origin star world, but his comprehension of profound intent hadn't even begun. In terms of a martial artist's combat strength, the cultivation of the Great Tao of Thunder was merely a decoration. If I can refine a few soul spirits that have comprehended one of the 3 profound meanings of light, darkness, and lightning, my strength will increase again. However, there weren't many such beasts. Usually, only adult cosmic system state beasts had the intelligence to learn it. Most of the adult demons here were at the high level of the star state. Their bloodlines were different. There are 21 adult cosmic system level monsters, Lin Feng said. There weren't many cosmic system state beasts in the valley. Most of them were star states. Hence, he was quite unlucky. The first time he encountered the strongest 7-horn lightning beast, and then he encountered the top 10 silver-armored beasts in this territory. The most unlucky thing was, he couldn't get out. Outside the valley was a huge forest that was surrounded. The forces in the forest were complicated. There were more than 10 monsters that were no weaker than the heptagon lightning monster. Unlike the valley, where there were only heart refinement and chi refinement stage monsters, there were many reverting stage and returning stage monsters in the forest. They fought for territory, and the strong preyed on the weak. As long as he got out of the valley, he would die. There are gains and losses. Lin Feng also adapted to the situation. Naturally, he couldn't stay here for a long time, but staying here for only 72 hours was different. With the 7-horned lightning beast's spiral lightning horn, he was like a fox borrowing the tiger's might to intimidate others, wearing a yellow magua. He could go to most of the places in the valley, including the fruits that gathered the fortune of heaven and earth. There was also a holy spring. Lin Feng nodded. This holy spring was only the size of a gourd. It would only pour out a few hundred drops of spring water every day. It was very little and could be drunk in one gulp. Drinking the holy spring water didn't increase one's strength by much, but it could increase one's wisdom by a lot. Therefore, these cosmic system level monsters can also use arcane intent in addition to their own talents, Lin Feng said. If he guessed correctly, the spring water of this holy spring water strengthened the wisdom soul. Although it doesn't help one's combat power much, it's very helpful for future cultivation. Lin Feng wasn't in a hurry to find it. Ever since the heptagon lightning monster took control of the valley, this holy spring belonged to it. Other monsters couldn't touch it. There was no difference between finding it early or late. What he needed to do now: first, find all kinds of heaven and earth treasures that gathered the essence of heaven and earth. Second, find the heptagon lightning monster's lair. Third, in the process of finding the first and second, if he encountered light, dark, and lightning cosmic system level monsters, he would kill them all and refine their spirit souls. Lin Feng quickly took action. There was no time to waste. 72 hours was a race against time. He had to increase his combat power as soon as possible. Although he didn't know which part to strengthen, he could only take it one step at a time. In this valley there were all kinds of fruits and spirit herbs. Many a little makes a mickle. Except shio, countless vines danced like whip. Lin Feng couldn't get close. In this valley, he could go to more than 90% of the places, but he couldn't enter 10%, where the cosmic system level vegetation spirits were. Although most of the vegetation spirits weren't very aggressive, the prerequisite was that one didn't get close to their domain. Once one got close, the result would be like this. Not to mention Lin Feng, they would even attack the seven-horned lightning monster without hesitation. There was a cosmic system level vegetation spirit that was even stronger than the heptagon lightning monster. What a pity! Lin Feng stared at a sparkling fruit tree that was protected by the wood spirit, his mouth watering. Every fruit contained an extremely strong soul energy, something that could not be found on the Nemo planet. As long as he could eat it, he could greatly strengthen his innate talent, Realm Force and Realm C. If he could open his third acupoint, he would become a silver plate elite. At that time, with the origin of True Dragon and the purple eyes of the True Dragon, the power of the True Dragon realm Yen Bing would reach a terrifying level. Forget Jin Hao, even Han Mountain. He was confident that he could kill him with one hit. To be continued. Chapter 12:26. However, even if one's talent soul was strong and the realm force and realm C level was high, it didn't mean that one would be able to open the heaven tier cultivation. Just like the heart of origin, it didn't mean that one's cultivation level would be strong. It only meant that one had a higher chance of gaining enlightenment. Opening the third aperture of the heaven tier cultivation required more fortune and enlightenment. Everything else was just support. Boom. Lin Feng did the same thing and heavily injured another cosmic system state beast. His talent soul forcefully devoured its spirit soul. Still nothing, Lin Feng murmured. This was the third cosmic system state beast he had killed. However, they usually only grasped the talent of origin and had a very shallow understanding of origin intent. At most, they would only comprehend 1 or 2 star profound intents. It wasn't very useful. A 4-star Tao of origin could unleash the power of a 4-star profound intent. To Lin Feng, it had to be at least a 3-star profound intent before he would be interested. He wasn't discouraged. Lin Feng continued to search for cosmic system state beasts. On the 4th, 5th, and 6th day, his efforts paid off. Finally, when he killed the 7th cosmic system state beast, he got what he wanted. 3-star profound intent, concealment of illusion. This was a type of profound intent similar to a chameleon. It could change and hide one's body. It was a support, but unfortunately, it was a light Tao. My light Tao cultivation level hasn't reached level 3. If I forcefully cultivate a 3-star profound intent, I can reach level 3 of course. However, if I can't comprehend it, it will take a lot of time, Lin Feng rejected. He didn't have time to waste now. Continue. There were 21 cosmic system state beasts. He didn't believe that there wasn't a suitable one. Holding the spiral lightning horn, Lin Feng continued to kill. Of course, not all the cosmic system state beasts were obedient like kittens, but even if they resisted, they couldn't help but tremble when they saw the spiral lightning horn. In a battle between powerful beings, a single flaw could be fatal. Although some of these cosmic system state beasts were stronger than Lin Feng, they weren't Lin Feng's match. Lin Feng broke through all the obstacles along the way. Finally, Lin Feng managed to break through all the obstacles. 3-star profound meaning, collapse of 1,000 mountains. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. The profound meaning of the Tao of heavy darkness. His Tao of heavy darkness was at the 3rd level, which was just enough for him to unleash it. 5 more. Lin Feng didn't waste any more time. He wanted to wait until he killed all the cosmic system state beasts before making a decision. He only had level 3 cultivation level for the Tao of darkness, unlike the Tao of annihilation, Tao of dark matter, and Tao of dark demon, which had 4 levels. The difference of a single layer in cultivation would result in a difference of at least 10 times. Keep looking. Soon, Lin Feng stopped again. It wasn't because there were cosmic system state beasts ahead. It was because he saw the holy spring. It was more like an eye than a spring. The bottom of the almost dried-up spring was clearly visible. Only a few drops are produced every day. There are thousands of drops here. Lin Feng was very satisfied. It was much more than he had expected. The heptagonal lightning monster had been stored for about half a month, and now it had all benefited him. Enhance one's intelligence. Lin Feng was also very curious. The beasts had intelligence and could improve it, but what about humans? 100 mind expanse was already the limit. Hua realm force turned into 2 hands and scooped up 100 drops of holy spring water. Lin Feng sucked it all in and carefully sensed it with his realm force. He was afraid that his body would be incompatible with the holy spring water. But clearly, he worried too much. Hiss hiss, the clear energy made his heart feel empty, and his entire body emitted a strong sense of comfort. It was as though he had been cleansed and looked brand new. Especially his heart, it felt as though it had been cleansed, and all the impurities were removed. In the Tai Yu origin star realm, there were waves. Lin Feng could clearly feel the 3rd meridian map becoming stronger. His eyes suddenly opened and flashed. My heart force has increased. Lin Feng's sparrow heart was happy. The illusory heart force rapidly increased, and even the Tai Yu origin star realm's mental range instantly expanded. It has exceeded 900,000 mental range. Lin Feng thought to himself. He had reached the 4th level of the origin star realm a long time ago, but the expansion of his mental range did not stop. Especially when his talent soul and soul of the earth had both evolved to the nebula level. The origin star realm's mental range had greatly increased. In addition, his 6 great Tao of lightning had all reached the 4th level. This time, on Earth, the Tai Yu origin star realm from 2 billion years ago could easily exceed 900,000 mental range. This was something he did not expect. But, the further one progressed, the harder it was to improve. The great Tao of light and the great Tao of darkness. I need to comprehend at least 2 more 4th level paths. Lin Feng sighed. If there were no external conditions and opportunities, it would be relatively difficult to comprehend even one path. As for bloodlines and the improvement of life's natural order, it was even more illusory. On the contrary, his current heart force was a visible path of improvement. After all, he had the sky heart crystal coffin. Time did not allow it. Huff! Lin Feng sucked up the last drop of holy spring water and felt comfortable all over. My mental range has increased by nearly 30,000. Lin Feng was already very satisfied. In about a day, the holy spring water had increased by more than 1,000 mental range. This was much faster than the sky heart crystal coffin. The heptagon lightning beast's nest is near the holy spring. Oh! Lin Feng searched carefully, and soon the corner of his mouth curled up. It was not difficult to find. As long as he followed the activity of the lightning energy, he would be able to find it. Sizzle, this was a valley within a valley where the lightning energy was concentrated. Lin Feng happily stepped into it. He could vaguely sense the heptagon lightning beast's aura. The skeletons of Yao clan monsters could be seen everywhere in its territory. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He then picked up a yellow skeleton with a golden claw. So tough, Lin Feng thought to himself. Even the heptagon lightning beast could not destroy it. This was enough to show its quality. Top-tier nebula-class material. Although it was temporarily unusable like the spiral lightning horn, it was still very valuable. Lin Feng put it away and continued searching. Not far away, there was a layer of curved surface that looked like it was formed by a giant nail. It should be the scales on the Yao clan monster's back. Its defense was extremely tough. In another place, there was a long whip covered with barbs. To be precise, it was the tail of the Yao clan monster. The dark light contained dark green barbs. Not only were they tough, but they were also highly poisonous. Large pieces of broken scales could be seen. It was a horrifying eyeball filled with cracks, countless teeth that were as sharp as ivory. There were more than 10 types. Almost every skeleton had one or more materials beside it. The entire valley was like a treasure trove. If I'm not wrong, these skeletons were all killed by the heptagon lightning beast. Lin Feng had already put them all away, including the remaining skeletons. These were all top-tier nebula-class materials that even the heptagon lightning beast could not destroy. Just because he did not know how to use them did not mean they were worthless. Also, Chapter 12:27. Fruit. 3 colorful fruits of heaven and earth. The 7-horned lightning monster's aura was the strongest at the location of the 3 fruits. The ground was covered in a layer of beast skin and had a strong fishy smell. This should be its resting place, and these 3 fruits were the ones it didn't finish the last time. One of them was bright red. It was hard to tell what kind of energy it contained. One was milky white and shone brightly. It was obvious at a glance that it contained strong light energy. The last one was shaped like a ginseng lily. It was moisturizing like water, and seemed to be a fruit of heaven and earth that could strengthen the body. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't be polite. He swallowed the milky white fruit first. As expected, a strong light energy surged into the peaceful nether origin astral realm. The light core shone brightly. It contained rich origin energy, but it only strengthened the body. It wasn't very useful. This was because Lin Feng already had an endless supply of Aeon crystals. To the 7-horned lightning monster, it was just an ordinary fruit. Moreover, the taste was quite ordinary. After the origin astral realm was fully developed, the light core, dark core, and thunder core would transform every absorption into energy and automatically strengthen the body. From the silver whirlpool to the silver plate to the silver core to the silver heart, besides the origin astral realm, the body was also very important. The soul of the earth was fundamentally the 7 spirits that strengthened the body. It was like building a house. If the foundation wasn't stable enough, it was impossible to build a tall building. The body was the foundation. Again, Lin Feng immediately swallowed the ginseng lily-like fruit of heaven and earth. Instantly, he felt like a ghost in the empty valley. His entire body trembled. Clear spring water flowed, warming his meridians and bones. If he ate it when he was injured, it would be quite good. But if he ate it now, it only strengthened his body's toughness. This guy. The 3 fruits of heaven and earth he left behind are really nothing special. Lin Feng laughed and scolded. He wasn't really disappointed. It was better than nothing. At least there was still one more fruit of heaven and earth. A fruit of heaven and earth that he couldn't see through. Perhaps it was something good. Gulp. Lin Feng swallowed it in one gulp. The bright red fruit suddenly bloomed. Energy surged in, and the peaceful nether origin astral realm fluctuated violently. Lin Feng was instantly overjoyed. This was a fruit that strengthened his bloodline. Strands of ripples spread throughout the dark peace origin astral boundary. Sensing the strengthening of his bloodline, the divine inscriptions shone brightly. He could clearly see the appearance of the black-haired giant, and could sense the existence of his strength. The current him didn't even have the qualifications to look up to him. Slowly Lin Feng enjoyed the exhilaration of his bloodline as he sensed the increase in Tai Nether Origin Star World's perception distance. Unknowingly, it had already exceeded 950,000 perception distance and was getting closer and closer to the limit of 1 million perception distance. Upgrading one's bloodline was the fastest way to increase one's psyche range. It was just like how martial artists with good natural endowments could cultivate much faster than ordinary martial artists. Everything was swept clean. Lin Feng searched the entire valley 3 times, making sure that there was nothing left before he left. The Holy Spring and the heptagonal lightning beast's lair, which was this valley, were things that he could directly obtain. Everything else was not easy. Head 18 Lin Feng was clean. Only 3 of the 21 cosmic system state beasts remained. Fighting with them would also allow him to hone his combat strength. He could directly kill half of the 18 beasts with his own strength. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, there were not many 72 hours left. The biggest consumption was the spirit soul refinement. For example, it took a total of 6 hours to refine that silver-armored beast at the beginning. After that, he refined 8 cosmic system state beasts. It took him at least 3 to 8 hours. Lin Feng didn't refine this one. Although it was a monster of the light element, it did not use any profound meaning other than its innate ability during the battle just now. The possibility of it having profound meaning was very slim. Moreover, his light element cultivation level wasn't high. There are still 15 hours left. Lin Feng sighed. He could only cultivate the 3-star dark heavy profound intent now. Even if he succeeded, it wouldn't change his strength too much. Venture out of the valley. Lin Feng didn't plan to do that. This trip to Earth from 2 billion years ago was at least worth it. Now that there wasn't much time left, it wasn't worth taking the risk. Lin Feng sped up his search for cosmic system state beasts. Time was of the essence. Swoosh, swoosh. A figure sped through the valley. Lin Feng's eyes were like torches. In 2 hours, he found the remaining 2 cosmic system state beasts. This one was the last one. True Dragon Realm Yen Bing. Lin Feng locked onto his target. Roar! It was a beast similar to the 7-horned lightning beast, but it only had 2 lightning horns on its head. With a roar, a huge lightning mountain descended from the sky and went straight for Lin Feng. A battle broke out. Ha ha! Lin Feng laughed. The moment he devoured this nebula-grade lightning beast, he knew he had a chance. This lightning beast, which he had spent a lot of effort to kill, had not only comprehended a 3-star profound intent, but also half a 4-star profound intent. Good wine sinks to the bottom of the urn. Time was running out. Lin Feng quickly entered a state of comprehension. He devoured and refined the lightning beast while comprehending at the same time. Compared to 4-star profound intent, 3-star profound intent was much easier to comprehend. Moreover, Lin Feng had a 4-star cultivation base, so it was much easier for him. Complete refinement would bring about a perfect comprehension. The pressure of time allowed Lin Feng to comprehend the essence of 3-star profound intent very quickly. In less than 72 hours, he had already grasped it perfectly. That's it. Lin Feng clenched his fist, and lightning energy shot out. He was very satisfied. One more profound intent meant one more level of combat power. There's still half an hour. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat, and his figure instantly disappeared. Whoosh! Lin Feng appeared in a remote area in the eastern valley. After 72 hours of hunting, Lin Feng knew this valley like the back of his hand. This was especially so for the many stalks of plant spirit. They were like many restrictions placed before him, causing him to look at the fruits of heaven and earth in front of him. He could see them but couldn't eat them. That feeling was very uncomfortable. There was only a single spirit of nature in this place. Its combat power was comparable to a silver platter. He was no match for it. However, Lin Feng looked at the fruits of heaven and earth it was guarding. The fragrance it emitted was the bright red swallow fruit he had eaten in the seven-horned lightning beast's nest. It was a fruit that could strengthen one's bloodline. Not to mention bloodline, just the increase in mental range was extremely precious. The first one I ate increased my mental range by 20,000. My current mental range is 95,000. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. Including the decrease in the effects of eating the same fruit, as long as I can get 3 of them, I will have a chance to reach 1 million mental range. If I can get 5 of them, I will definitely be able to improve the Taiyu origin star realm. Chapter 12:28. Whoosh. Jin Hao, who had been watching from the sidelines, suddenly changed his expression. His blue eyes were instantly filled with white light. He naturally wouldn't allow his subordinates to be killed by space beasts. As the young patriarch of the Golden Dragon race, Jin Hao was no ordinary person. Not only was he talented, but he also had a powerful realm weapon. White Longmu. As a 4-elemental genetic soul warrior, Jin Hao's White Longmu could directly attack. His eyes sharpened, and he quickly locked onto the Tyrannosaurus before he attacked. His enormous body suddenly stopped, as if petrified in an instant. With a sizzling sound, Jin Hao's eyes shone brightly. Dong! Jin Hao's body trembled, and the beam of light in by Long's eyes was cut off. A black shadow scuttled out from the shadows of the universe. A blood-red weapon was burning in his hand with blazing hellfire, and a golden skeletal armor covered his body. A third eye opened on his forehead. Roar! Like an ugly and ferocious bone dragon, it descended with burning flames. Blood Shadow Li Poji was pleasantly surprised. Lin Feng's expression didn't change. The Heaven's Spite Demon armor shone brightly, and a red light flashed in front of his chest. A dark demonic light poured out of his eyes. Instantly, a huge force spread from the bottom of his heart, and his body shook violently. Pung! Pung! Lin Feng blocked the attacks of the 3 genetic soul warriors, but he was unscathed. At this moment, the Tyrannosaurus clone's combat power erupted. Close combat was its forte. Its claws flashed past, and 2 level 3 genetic soul warriors were sent flying, spitting blood. The level 4 genetic soul warrior blocked the tail whip. The Tyrannosaurus clone took advantage of the momentum to take a step forward. Ta! Its enormous body brought great power. The tail whip slashed through the air with a clear blade heart force, striking the 2 level 3 genetic soul warriors who had already been injured by the claws. One died immediately, and the other was seriously injured and unconscious. Humph, despicable. Although the level 4 genetic soul warrior was caught unprepared, he still had the power to protect himself. A silver light flashed, turning into 3 halos that blasted toward the Tyrannosaurus clone. But in an instant a terrifying force locked onto him. The level 4 genetic soul warrior suddenly turned around. Bai Longmu's eyes shone brightly. Clang! The black blade of Sin condensed into a powerful force. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. Lin Feng split into 3, and the 3 demonic shadows were immediately used. In a split second the level 4 soul warrior was caught unprepared. Boom, 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 the 3 blades exploded at the same time. The level 4 soul warrior roared, and his entire body blossomed with silver light. Although the defense of a level 4 genetic soul warrior was strong, Lin Feng's attack was not the least bit weak. Under normal circumstances, he would have high-level silver spiral combat strength. Once he activated the Heaven's Hatred state, his combat strength would reach low-level silver disc, enough to break through a defense. Despicable thing. The level 4 genetic soul warrior's complexion was unsightly, but he still managed to block the attack. But in the next moment, the enormous beast in front of him had already arrived, its claws tearing at him like lightning. No! His shrill voice carried the message of death. Lin Feng wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth. His footsteps didn't stop. Although he had been injured in the battle just now, he didn't have time to waste. His side was still at a great disadvantage. As he retreated, he swept his gaze over the situation. Li Poji was evenly matched with the level 3 genetic soul warrior. Although his big brother Lin Zhan's combat strength wasn't bad, he could only barely defend against a level 4 genetic warrior. On the other hand, the combination of Sharjah and Death Sun was actually able to hold their ground under the absolute disadvantage. One was defending and controlling, while the other was waiting for an opportunity to launch a sneak attack. Although this was their first time working together, their cooperation was flawless, and the most important thing was Jin Hao. Help Li Poji. Lin Feng only had one sentence. As his voice rang in Blood Shadow's ears, Lin Feng's saber had already slashed out, replacing Blood Shadow as he faced Jin Hao. He was very grateful for Blood Shadow's help this time, but Blood Shadow wasn't Jin Hao's match. Emperor stabbing strike. Lin Feng's attack was relatively fast. Jin Hao snorted coldly. While attacking Blood Shadow, he didn't put Lin Feng in his eyes at all. But in the next second, Lin Feng's figure split into 3. His dark origin suddenly became sharp. With the Heaven's Hatred state increasing his absolute strength, Lin Feng's strength wasn't inferior to Jin Hao's. Like the convergence of 3 triangles, 3 spirals tore through space. 4-star profound intent, hatred extinguishing spiral rumbling sounds rang out as an astonishing devouring power erupted. This move was even stronger than the Emperor's stabbing strike that had killed the level 4 genetic soul warrior. But Jin Hao's strength was also more terrifying. BZZT. Powerful energy protected his body. Silver light blossomed. Jin Hao's lips curled into a cold smile. Although the 3 hatred-extinguishing spirals were desperately consuming powerful energy, they couldn't keep up with the speed of energy replenishment. He had plenty of treasures. On the contrary, Lin Feng was repelled by the reaction force. Jin Hao raised his eyebrows. His disdainful expression was activated as his realm force weapon instantly appeared. A furious roar resounded in his ears as the attack of the Tyrant Dragon clone arrived. That terrifying power was even stronger than Lin Feng's hateful heaven form. Combining attack and defense, the Tyrant Dragon clone's powerful attack suppressed Jin Hao. Lin Feng didn't make a move. A golden true dragon totem treasure appeared in his hand, and his realm force secretly condensed. Bang bang bang, the fierce battle was in full swing. The Tyrant Dragon clone had the physical advantage, while Jin Hao had the level and equipment advantage. The attacks became more and more intense. Now's the time. Lin Feng took advantage of the opening. Realm Sea churned. Endless realm force used the true dragon's origin in his chest as a medium and quickly emerged. A golden dragon roared into the sky. First attack. Realm Sea hidden dragon. The golden dragon flew out from the Realm Sea. Lin Feng's eyes were filled with purple light. The change in realm force caused the golden dragon to change as well. It was actually suffused with a faint purple color as it attacked Jin Hao. Innate skill, true dragon's purple eyes. Qi. The golden dragon's power was boundless. Lin Feng had just taken control of the true dragon realm's Yanbing, and it was already quite powerful. Bang bang, La Jin Hao was caught off guard and was bitten by the golden dragon. He spat out blood and his expression became even more ferocious. At the same time, he whistled loudly. Lin Feng was startled and suddenly woke up. Run! All of you, run! Lin Feng was practically shouting. A terrifying aura suddenly descended. Lin Feng had been suspicious since just now. Ho said there were 15 enemies, then there should be 15. But now there were only 14. Where did the last one go? It was impossible for him to disappear into thin air. Either he was dead, or he was still hiding and had yet to appear. Right now, this aura had already descended. Clang! A powerful force blocked Lin Feng's pursuit of Jin Hao. The person who came had a square face and looked ordinary, but in truth, he was not. He was Jin Hao's chief bodyguard and the vice commander of this expedition to Earth. Han Mountain. A true level 4 genetic warrior. A level 4 genetic warrior might not be as powerful as a silver plate primary martial artist or a genetic soul scholar when they were at the same level, but that was only a probability, not a certainty. Clang. The giant hammer fell. Han Mountain was as still as a mountain, but it moved like a violent gust of wind. It blocked Lin Feng's attack directly, showing off its extraordinary control over its strength and the heart of the hammer realm. A pair of cold eyes and a gigantic body stood tall and straight. To be continued. Chapter 12:29. They closed in slowly. Han Shan could already feel Earth's presence. His eyes shone brightly. Powerful energy gathered on the giant hammer in his hand. The powerful genetic energy fused with his battle prowess. If Han Shan wanted to, he could even destroy Earth. To a powerful warrior in the star system, this was nothing. There are quite a lot of people on Earth. But they're all trash. Their spiritual aura is thin. As they closed in on Earth, Han Shan frowned. He was slightly disappointed by the legendary 9-star life planet. They were not even as good as some of the newly born 5-star and 6-star life planet. However, this had nothing to do with him. What he needed to do was to hand over Earth to his family. That would be enough. One day, Han Shan's killing intent appeared. In one day he could kill all the humans on Earth. Han Shan landed in the distance. There are quite a lot of them there too. His gaze was focused on Mars. He snorted coldly. A hint of disdain appeared in Han Shan's eyes. He had no interest in attacking these artificial planets. Once I kill all the humans on Earth, I'll clean up that place. To Han Shan, this was as easy as lifting a finger. Suddenly, thud! Han Shan stopped. The giant hammer shone brightly. At that moment, a figure walked towards them from the distance. He was dressed in black martial arts clothes. He was not tall, but his appearance and presence were very familiar. I'm not hiding anymore, Han Shan said flatly. He naturally did not care about the human from Earth. This human might be the strongest on Earth, but there were plenty of powerful warriors like him in Black Wolf Gold Empire. Lin Feng smiled. Clang. The black blade of evil appeared in his hand. The Tao of Dark Demon manifested in his eyes, and he activated Heaven Hatred. Crack, crack, crack. It was the same Heaven Hatred, but the increase was different. The strength of Lin Feng's body was different from when he was in the Silver Spiral realm. The change in his body caused his presence to become stronger. In an instant, Han Shan stopped underestimating him. The giant hammer rumbled. Yet in an instant, Han Shan felt that something was wrong. His body was slightly numb. Even the giant hammer had a flash of lightning. The power of lightning was very strong. 100,000 times Thunder Core. 5th grade Dark Tai Nether Origin Star Realm. Lin Feng raised his hand and the world changed color. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. The lightning in the entire dimension spun rapidly and enveloped Han Mountain. It might only be the profound will of 3 stars, but when it was cast with a 100,000-fold Thunder Core and the power of the 4th layer, its power was still extraordinary. The profound meaning of magnetism and electricity, the magnetic field of the heavens. An endless amount of light from the electromagnetic field gathered together and formed the shape of a mountain. Lin Feng's body abruptly disappeared. Han Mountain looked around him warily and gathered his power to its peak, but an endless amount of Lin Fengs appeared around him. Triple Wraith Lin Feng used them at the same time, so his control was extraordinary. Due to the influence of the heaven-threatening magnetic field, the 3 evil shadows turned into phantoms. The slash that was aimed at the Emperor appeared abruptly, and it looked as if it was charging towards Han Shan from multiple directions. Han Shan let out a roar, and the great hammer rumbled, causing the entire magnetic field to crumble. But in an instant, a chill ran down his spine. Not good. Han Mountain glared at him with bloodshot eyes, and a terrifying power came crashing down like a mountain from the top. 4-star profound meaning, helix of hatred. Ah! Han Mountain cried out in pain. He wanted to block the attack, but Lin Feng, who was in the Silver Plate realm, was much stronger than when he was in the Silver Whirlpool realm. His speed, strength, and explosive power were far greater than before. The current Lin Feng's battle prowess was equivalent to a powerful warrior in the middle level of the Silver Plate realm, and he wanted to kill Han Mountain, who was only in the initial level of the Silver Plate realm. It was as easy as flipping his hand. With a loud bang, the helix of hatred crashed down. Lin Feng raised his hand and brought the blade down. Han Mountain widened his eyes, and an unwilling expression appeared on his face. His body was torn into countless pieces, and the moment he was engulfed by the power of the origin of darkness, a flash of red light appeared on his chest. In an instant, he exploded and turned into ashes. Elemental region. The people in the research lab where the signal was traced to Lin Feng widened their eyes and looked at the scene before them in shock. They covered their mouths in disbelief and started shouting in excitement. The king of Huaxia is too powerful. Xiao Yi was now full of admiration for Lin Feng. Heh. Professor Jean could not help but smile. How did this guy become so powerful in just a few days? Li Poji mumbled and shook his head. He was amazed by Lin Feng's power. He had once thought that he was close to Lin Feng, but he did not expect the gap between them to widen so quickly. I've finally gotten rid of a huge problem. Lin Zhan was very pleased. Not yet. Professor Jean shook his head. The problem was indeed not solved yet. Lin Feng did not drag things out. Once he killed Han Mountain, he quickly returned to Earth, activated the Space Garden, and went to Planet Nemo. This was a rather fast shortcut that allowed him to reach the border of the solar system. Whoosh! Lin Feng appeared in a flash and hummed softly. He cast his gaze into the distance and smiled faintly. In an instant, he left Planet Nemo. Blood Shadow's gaze was sharp as he hovered in the air not too far away. The corners of his eyes twitched slightly. If anyone looked closely, they would find that his hands, which were crossed before his chest, were trembling slightly. He narrowed his eyes, and a cold glare shot out from his eyes. Slap! He clenched his fists tightly. He became stronger again. Blood Shadow's figure disappeared into the darkness with a murmur. At the border of the solar system. Haha, it's finally fixed. Jin Hao laughed heartily. Young tribe leader, you're so powerful. So awesome. As expected of the young tribe leader. He's so powerful. No matter how hard one tried, flattery would never work. All the genetic warriors praised him. In truth, they were praising him sincerely. It was a miracle that he could fix the damaged spaceship in less than 4 days. Young tribe leader, what should we do next? Jin Hao's trusted aide, Jin Xiong, asked. Wait for news from Han Mountain. Jin Hao immediately turned on his communication device and widened his eyes. His expression changed. Impossible. Jin Xiong looked over and was also stunned. The communication device showed that there was no signal. It was not that the call could not be connected, but that the communication device was not working. There was only one possibility, and that was that the communication device was destroyed. Han Mountain would definitely not destroy itself unless Han Mountain was killed. Jin Xiong could not believe it. The genetic warriors around him could not help but shudder. If even Han Mountain was killed, what would they do? Jin Hao's expression changed. He shouted almost immediately, Everyone, come in and activate the dark matter space jump. This spaceship from Black Wolf Gene Empire could naturally jump through the dark matter space and enter the dark matter tunnel. But shouts, 3 cold rays of light appeared and killed 3 genetic warriors who were about to jump into the spaceship. Jin Hao turned around and glared. It was the young man from Earth who had injured him before. Boom. The only remaining genetic soul warrior attacked Lin Feng, but in the next moment, a purple light flashed above his head. Boom! The purple-eyed demonic death knell fell. Lin Feng flashed past and a thick darkness enveloped Jin Hao. Bang! Jin Hao still wanted to fight back, but his strength was not even comparable to Han Mountain's. How could he compare to the current Lin Feng? The black blade of evil slashed through the air. Lin Feng killed Jin Hao as if he was cutting grass. Then, he killed all the remaining powerful warriors of the Golden Dragon tribe. None were left alive. Hua, with the black blade of evil in his hand and the Heaven's Hatred demon armor, Lin Feng looked like a demon. To be continued. Chapter 1230. Black Wolf Jin Empire, Jin Long Race. Hao Heir is dead. Jin De Chao's face was gloomy. The wine glass in his hand shattered with a crack. Fine wine flowed out like crocodile tears. Jin De Chao's clothes fluttered slightly. Earth is stronger than we thought. As the strongest genetic warrior of the Jin Long race, Jin Mao was Jin De Chao's personal bodyguard. Simply put, he was Jin De Chao's trusted aide. That day, he followed Jin De Chao through the dark matter passage to Earth. Unfortunately, they failed at the last moment. Damn it! Jin De Chao slammed his hand on the table and gritted his teeth. Every time he felt like he had it in his hands, it slipped away. That feeling made him frustrated and unwilling. Patriarch, what should we do next? Jin Mao asked. Report to the Black Wolf Jin Empire. Jin De Chao shook his head coldly. We can only get a one-time fee. It's not even 1% of the value of a 9-star life planet. Jin De Chao frowned. Either we don't do it or we do it big. But both the young Patriarch and Han Mountain failed. Jin Mao said. The enemy's combat power is around level 5 genetic soul warrior. Our race's technology can only use level 5 energy. Buy it! Jin De Chao shouted. He had even bought the expensive space reset seed, so buying some level 6 technological weapons was nothing to him. Inform all level 5 genetic soul warriors to stop what they are doing and enter the Milky Way virtual world to practice level 6 technology. Jin De Chao's eyes were blood red. As long as they pass the standard test, no matter how expensive the level 6 technology is, the race will buy it for them. Time limit 3 years. Within 3 years, I want them to master a level 6 technology. Those who fail the standard test will be punished according to the race rules. Jin De Chao clenched his fist. He was ready to risk everything. He didn't want to give the precious 9-star life planet to someone else. 3 years, money. At worst, the Jin Long race's economy would decline for 10,000 years. As long as he succeeded, the Jin Long race would get 100, 1,000, or even 10,000 times return. 9-star life planets were rare even in the Milky Way. Solar System border. It's finally over, Lin Feng said softly. Although he knew that the Jin Long race still had information about Earth and would not let Earth go so easily, at least before the dark matter passage led to Earth, the Jin Long race could only come to Earth through the original universe. It would take at least 9.5 years. Earth had another 9.5 years of peace. As for what would happen 9.5 years later, no one knew. Although 9.5 years was a blink of an eye for cosmic system states, it wasn't short for Lin Feng. After all, he was only 32 years old. In another 9.5 years, perhaps he would have the ability to contend with the Golden Dragon race. Let's go home. Lin Feng smiled. Finally relieved, Lin Feng looked at the magnificent spaceship in the distance. With a wave of his hand, he kept the spaceship into the storage ring given to him by Hui and left. Heart Hero Island. Lin Feng's children, Lin Xining and Lin Nemo, were playing happily. Wu Luan had a bitter face. The Heavenly Demon Emperor had become a full-time nanny, playing the game of eagle and chicken with the two children. My little ancestor, can we not play with the tail? Wu Luan complained. Uncle Wu Luan, run faster. Sister is about to catch me. Lin Nemo shouted. Yes, yes, yes. Mother Jiruhua looked at her grandson and granddaughter with a kind smile. In the training field, Xiao Yu and Huang Tian were sparring. Yu was watching from the side seriously. Lin Feng stood at the border of Heart Hero Island and looked down. Although he was high up in the air, with Lin Feng's strength and cultivation, it was easy for him to see the elemental territory below. Not only Lin Feng, but Xia Ling and Shi Manzi also had this ability. Big brother Lin, when are you planning to leave? Xia Ling stood on Lin Feng's left. Standing on Lin Feng's right was Shi Manzi. The two of them had been getting along well these past few years, and they called each other sisters as if they were family. In 2 months, Lin Feng said. The two girls were slightly surprised. Shi Manzi said, Earth is still in danger. The Golden Dragon race has already stopped moving. Professor Jean said that there are no problems. Xia Ling said, the Elemental Commerce Alliance and China have us. Big brother Lin, you don't have to worry. I'm not worried. Lin Feng smiled and said to the two girls. Looking back at the two children, Lin Feng's eyes were filled with love. It's Nemo's birthday in a month, and then it's Xining's. I want to spend this year's birthday with them before leaving. Oh, you. Shi Manzi laughed. It's okay. I can also cultivate in the Saint Remains. Lin Feng smiled. Now that he had received his master's gift and become his teacher's official disciple, his authority had increased a lot. He could even enter the true Dragon Black Domain's galactic civilizations. Moreover, even on Earth, he could comprehend the origin source ocean and cultivate. When one's strength reached the galactic level, it was more about one's realm and heart. As for energy, Lin Feng didn't need to worry at all since he had an endless supply of Aeon crystals. Looking at the Chinese martial artists in the elemental territory below, seeing them living and working in peace and without worries, Lin Feng felt very satisfied. His efforts were worth it. During these 2 months, Lin Feng didn't stay idle. The selection of super elite seeds was in full swing. With Lin Feng's eyesight, there was no way he would miss anything. Moreover, Li Poji's innate soul had just broken through and transformed into realm force. His eyes were fiery and golden. There are so many geniuses on Earth. After a few months of selection, Lin Feng had selected 111 martial artists. Among them, there were those whose mind expanse exceeded 70, 40, and even 10. Their ages were uneven. There were some who were over 60 years old, and some who were under 10 years old. However, most of them were in their teens or 20s. This was because this age group had the most potential. Potential wasn't about reaching 100 mind expanse or reaching the galactic level. It was about reaching beyond the galactic level. Innate talent was one aspect, and willpower was another. Yes. Li Poji sighed. I didn't expect that in just a few years, 100 mind expanse had already become the standard for Earth's humans. Lin Feng smiled. The invention of the Xiao Yi gene capsule allowed the third generation of Earth's humans to walk their own path. Starting from tempering one's body and genes, they would only make a choice after reaching 100 mind expanse. Firstly, their foundation would be solid. Secondly, their body and genes would be strong, making it easier for their bloodline to break through in the future. Furthermore, after reaching 100 mind expanse, they would have a clearer understanding of themselves and their innate abilities. The possibility of choosing the wrong path would be greatly reduced. They are Earth's future. Lin Feng smiled. Li Poji glanced at Lin Feng and shook his head. No, you are Earth's future. To be continued. Chapter 1231. Good times always flew by quickly. To Earth and Lin Feng, 2 months passed in the blink of an eye. In the morning, Lin Feng kissed his wife and his 2 children, who were still sleeping soundly. Then, he said goodbye to his mother, Jiruhua, his brother, and his sister, Yu. Earth had them and their death anniversary, so he was at ease. Even if Miracle Holy King Chi Hao suddenly appeared, Earth would not be in any danger. Earth's martial artists were very strong now. Saturn's development was flourishing. Professor Jean and Xiao Yi were in charge of the elemental sea region and the research of new technologies. When Jing was now in charge of the entire elemental sea region, Sun Xingren stayed in China. It was estimated that in a few years, Saturn would officially start immigration and enter the Chinese era. After all, Saturn's surface area was 745 times that of Earth. The number of Chinese people it could accommodate would be much larger. Currently, the technology of artificial immigration was very advanced, including the artificial atmosphere, gravity suppression, climate monitoring, and so on. As for ordinary immigration spaceships, they were mass-produced. Birth was rewarded, and the country raised them. Although the current technology could easily produce test tube babies, Lin Feng prohibited it. He did not want China's population to increase on this basis. The next time I come back, Earth will definitely be brand new. Lin Feng smiled. Earth, which had been in China for 6 years, represented the birth of a new era. It was completely different from the war era. Elemental Sea Region. Can you locate it? Lin Feng asked. Of course. Professor Jean smiled. I didn't expect Jean how to do a good deed before he died. He repaired the spaceship. Although there are some small flaws, it can fly normally. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Dark matter space jump. Professor Jean nodded. Yes. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. If he could enter the dark matter channel, entering the Milky Way would not only be more convenient but also faster. Previously, he had planned to leave the solar system and enter the Milky Way, step by step. But now, he did not need to go through so much trouble. Although Jean Hao's spaceship's performance was not outstanding, it was not bad. At least it could perform dark matter space jump. The Black Wolf Gold Empire has a vast territory, with 16 million stellar systems. More than 1/10 of them have fixed space stations. There are more than 1 million star systems with thriving civilizations. Most of them have short-distance star system teleportation channels. Master, are you entering an uninhabited star system with a fixed space station or a star system with thriving civilizations? Of course it's a star system where civilizations flourish, Lin Feng said with a smile. The purpose of this trip to the Milky Way was to hone his skills and increase his knowledge. The second purpose was to find the galactic-level technology to repair Earth. The third purpose was to find the golden dragon race of the Black Wolf Gold Empire. Now that Earth had been exposed, it would be difficult to continue hiding. If Earth wanted to remain safe, then, he needed to have enough strength to protect Earth. Now, Lin Feng was very clear about the rules of the universe. It was also the law of the jungle, where the strong preyed on the weak. Nature was cruel, but the universe was much crueler than nature. In the true Dragon Black domain, countless races were reduced to slaves of other races, never to rise again, until the entire race was wiped out. However, even his teacher, the monarch of the true Dragon Dark domain, could not guarantee his safety. This was the universe, a primitive place that abided by the laws of nature. The civilizations in these 1 million star systems are all under the control of the Black Wolf Gold Empire. We're usually divided into 3 levels. The first level is the star systems. Most of them are planet level and stellar level. There's basically no galactic level overlord. The second level is the star systems. They're independent and control a different number of star systems. They're controlled by a certain force or a powerful family. The strongest is usually a silver plate overlord or a level 5 or 6 technological civilization. Professor Jean said, the Golden Dragon race controls 17 star systems. Lin Feng nodded. All the star systems were controlled by the Black Wolf Gold Empire. The first level was like the land controlled by the Empire, and the second level was like the land given to the important officials. The third-level star system is the center of the Black Wolf Gold Empire. It's made up of thousands of star systems, and we call it the Black Wolf Gold Star region. Basically, all second-level families have a place here. Lin Feng understood. To put it simply, it was like Beijing. So, the Black Wolf Gold Star region is the most lively and has the most overlords, Lin Feng said. Professor Jean nodded. The Black Wolf Gold Star region is divided into 13 major star zones and 8,000 minor star zones. The Golden Dragon race is just a very ordinary family in the Black Wolf Gold Star region. They're located in Star Zone 1295, one of the 3 closest minor star zones to the Solar System. The other 2 minor star zones are, no need. I'll go to Star Zone 1295 where the Golden Dragon race is. Lin Feng said, the spaceship won't be recognized, right? Professor Jean shook his head. This is a Series 4 spaceship manufactured by the Black Wolf Gold Empire. It's a standard configuration. There are hundreds of millions of such spaceships. Of course, no one will recognize it. Then, it's decided. Lin Feng smiled and nodded. Suddenly, he turned around and looked at a dark corner behind him. How about it? Do you want to go together? Dr. Jean and Xiao Yi were stunned. They followed Lin Feng's gaze and looked over. In an instant, there was a spatial fluctuation and a black figure appeared, causing them to widen their eyes in shock. Of course. Blood Shadow looked straight at Lin Feng. Lin Feng smiled. Blood Shadow had helped him a lot. He wouldn't refuse Blood Shadow's request. Bringing one more person was just a convenience. Unfortunately, Li Poji still couldn't pass the 3 tribulations and 3 lives path. Otherwise, the 3 of them could go together. Let's not care about the Nemo planet anymore? Lin Feng asked. You're not the only one with a doppelganger, Blood Shadow said. Lin Feng chuckled softly. Blood Shadow would make this decision without exception. The blood to become stronger was in his bones. His will and determination were not something Li Poji could compare to. In order to become stronger, he didn't hesitate to become a demon. Soon, Lin Feng and Blood Shadow familiarized themselves with the spaceship's controls under Professor Jin's guidance. In fact, it wasn't difficult. Basically, as long as there were no major problems, the AI system would arrange the journey after the spaceship entered the dark matter space. It would naturally head toward the location indicated by space. Let's go. Lin Feng detected the positioning space station of Star Zone 1295. In an instant, the AI system of the spaceship was activated and quickly activated the dark matter space jump. Lin Feng's vision blurred. The spaceship let out a magnetic sound and jumped into the dark matter space. Destination, Star Zone 1295. Let's go. The AI system let out a crisp voice and set off. Chapter 1232. Reeks, the universe was huge. The Milky Way alone was unimaginably huge. The 7 empires located at the center of the Milky Way had the strongest and densest energy in the universe. Therefore, they had the most stellar systems, as many as 100 billion. The number of planets was even more numerous. With the center of the Milky Way as the origin, 4 cantilevers extended. They were the silver cantilevers, the east cantilevers, the extreme cantilevers, and the river cantilevers. The stars in the 4 cantilevers ranged from a few billion to close to 3 billion. The extreme cantilevers had more than 7 billion stellar systems. The Black Wolf Gold Empire was one of the 77 empires in the extreme cantilevers, controlling more than 16 million stellar systems. Phew! Lin Feng, who was looking at the information in the smart system, let out a long sigh. The solar system is really small, Lin Feng exclaimed. In the Milky Way, the solar system was just a grain of sand. In terms of territory, the solar system belonged to the Black Wolf Gold Empire, but it did not belong to any force or family. It was a free-range stellar system. There were many such stellar systems, and the Black Wolf Gold Empire usually allowed them to develop freely. If they really wanted to manage, the Empire had more than 16 million stellar systems. They could not manage all of them. That's right, Blood Shadow said in a low voice. This was the reason he left Nemo Planet. If he wanted to become stronger, he needed to broaden his horizons and go to a wider world. Being a frog in a well would only lead to elimination. Swish, swish. Blood Shadow, like Lin Feng, looked at the information seriously. These were very important to them, including the galactic common language, the taboos of the Black Wolf Gold Empire, the laws, and so on. This was different from on Earth. When in Rome, do as the Romans do, but it could save them a lot of unnecessary trouble. Every small star region has a star region mayor, 3 deputy star region mayors, and an arbitration committee. The star region mayor and deputy star region mayors are directly appointed by the Black Wolf Gold Empire. Respected elders in each star region can apply to join the arbitration committee. The conditions for joining are: first, you have been a citizen of the star region for more than 100 galactic eras. Second, you must have no misdeeds in your citizens' records. Citizens of the star region who meet the conditions can initiate a referendum. You must get more than 60% of the votes of the arbitration committee and more than 90% of all citizens of the star region to join. Lin Feng exclaimed, 100 galactic eras, that's 1,000,000 years old. Blood Shadow said, according to the information, the lifespan of a star system level being is at least 100,000 years. Silver plate level beings are of a higher level, and even silver plate level beings can reach this lifespan. If it's a silver core level being, it's normal for them to live more than 100 eras. Lin Feng nodded. With the improvement of genes and the transformation of cells, the lifespan of humans increased bit by bit from the planetary state to the star state to the cosmic system state. Absorbing the energy of heaven and earth, their lifespan grew longer and longer. Earth's current lifespan is much longer than it used to be. From the planetary state to the star state, one's lifespan will gradually increase. After breaking through to the cosmic system state, one's lifespan will exceed 100,000 years. Lin Feng was confident that he could raise his family's gene level to the cosmic system state and greatly extend their lifespan. However, the most important thing right now was to protect Earth and their freedom. Otherwise, no matter how long one's lifespan was, it would just be empty talk. Beep beep. The AI system sent out a signal. It was Lin Feng who was looking at the information. He looked over and his heart skipped a beat. It was a change in space. The dark matter channel was folding and bending slightly. Dark matter was an object in the form of nothingness. Unlike the straight transmission of light, dark matter was constantly changing, just like the yellow sand in the desert, constantly changing its position. This was the characteristic of the dark matter channel. Because of the changes, the travel distance could be shortened. Whoosh whoosh. The spaceship seemed to have entered a space-time tunnel, constantly changing its direction. Guidance confirmed. Guidance confirmed. Guidance confirmed. Guidance confirmed successfully. You too. It was Lin Feng's first time experiencing this. He was very curious. Every time the space changed, it was like entering a complicated maze. It was difficult to determine the direction and needed to determine the direction again. The key to this was guidance. It was like a lighthouse in the fog, guiding the direction. If there was no positioning space station, someone would need to provide guidance. The distance has shortened by 0.1 light years. Lin Feng could not help but smile. In just a few folds and changes, it had shortened the time to enter the 1295 sector by a month. No wonder Professor Jean estimated that it would take at least 1.5 years, and at most 2 to 3 years to arrive. Although the folding and bending of space would sometimes increase the distance, most of the time it would shorten the distance, as long as there was positioning guidance. Soon, the spaceship entered a normal flight. 10 days later, Lin Feng integrated all the information and stored it in his mind. There was no harm in spending more time to learn. Whoosh! Lin Feng took out the True Dragon Realm Codex. This was created by his teacher, the True Dragon Sovereign, and it was the strongest of the 9 holy codex. Teacher's name is the True Dragon Sovereign. His cultivation of the True Dragon Realm force must be the deepest. Although Lin Feng received 9 holy codex as his teacher's graduation ceremony, according to you, his teacher's strongest book was the True Dragon Realm Codex. My use of the realm force is too rough. The true realm force should be even stronger. It is not inferior to the path of origin. Lin Feng opened the True Dragon Realm Codex. What entered his eyes were 4 big words. The extreme golden color made every word seem to penetrate deep into his soul, making his heart beat faster. Below him was a roaring golden dragon. Its eyes were like the eyes of a dragon, and it was brimming with vigor. So powerful. Lin Feng was shocked. His teacher's strength was unfathomable. Just the 4 words and the painting contained a powerful force that penetrated deep into the soul. Yu 3, huff. After a long deep breath, Lin Feng's eyes focused. Swoosh. Flipping through the True Dragon Realm Codex, Lin Feng read it carefully. Every word seemed to have magical power. Soon, he was immersed in the world of the Realm Codex. 3 chapters. Cultivation Chapter, Secret Technique Chapter, Realm Sea Chapter. Heaven's Eye Cultivation Open. Lin Feng opened his eyes wide. His heart beat faster. He had not reached the Secret Technique Chapter and Realm Sea Chapter, but he had already found what he wanted the most in the first chapter. The method to open the 3rd aperture of Heaven's Eye Cultivation. Not only that, Lin Feng flipped through the last few pages. His eyes were filled with excitement. Other than the method to open the 3rd aperture of Heaven's Eye Cultivation, the True Dragon Realm Codex also recorded the method to open the 4th aperture. Talent Soul. In the cultivation of Cosmic System, opening Heaven's Eye Cultivation was a crucial step. Opening the 3rd aperture would make one a Silver Plate Elite. Forming the Realm Sea would make one a Silver Core Elite. Opening the 4th aperture would make one a Silver Core Elite. Whether it was the opening of the 3rd or 4th aperture, it required luck and comprehension to break through. But now there was a cultivation method to break through. It was simply unbelievable. Teacher is really amazing. Lin Feng, who was carefully reading the cultivation chapter, was deeply impressed. To be continued. Chapter 1233. Heaven Ho Cultivation is the heart and the Tao. Mind-splitting, human heart, and devil heart, these 3 paths of cultivation have 9 Taos each and are called Ho. The divine heart is like the cultivation of compassion, salvation, and war. The demonic heart is like the cultivation of Asura, evil, and slaughter. The human heart is like the cultivation of self, the cultivation of chivalry, and the cultivation of true kindness. Lin Feng read carefully and savored it. His teacher's understanding of the Tao was far from what he could compare to. It was because of this that he was able to find a shortcut and create the Heaven Ho cultivation method. Just like the neo-martial arts on Earth, the key was to have a deep understanding of the ancient martial arts. Only then could one perfectly replicate neo-martial art. In short, the key to activating the Heaven Ho cultivation is the heart. Heart force is the foundation of everything. To activate the Heaven Ho cultivation, one must first activate one's own heart. Enter one's heart and comprehend one's own Heaven Ho cultivation. Lin Feng's eyes shone brightly. He was obsessed with the contents of his teacher's cultivation method. Too genius, too magical. Compared to the Heaven Ho cultivation, the improvement of heart force was even more illusory. The Sky Heart Crystal Coffin was already a rare treasure of the nebula level. It could improve heart force, but the improvement was limited. It was more of a nurturing. The stronger one's heart force was, the less effective it was. However, this was not the method recorded in his teacher's True Dragon Manual. Entering the Tao with the heart, the Heaven Ho cultivation and heart force complemented each other. Using this method to activate the Heaven Ho cultivation, one step at a time. Lin Feng nodded. It was not like some realm force cultivators who could directly gain enlightenment and activate the 3rd aperture of the Heaven Ho cultivation. However, it could be improved step by step. There won't be any bottlenecks. As long as you activate the third aperture of the Heaven Ho cultivation, your heart force will increase greatly. Activating the fourth aperture will increase your heart force even more. True Dragon Heart Refinement Tao. The method was not difficult, especially for a martial artist like Lin Feng who had a strong will and heart force. It was even more effective. The key to this cultivation method was the True Dragon's Essence. With the True Dragon's Essence, one could use the True Dragon World Force as the source to activate the refinement Tao. I can cultivate without the True Dragon's Essence, but it's too draining. Lin Feng had tried it before, but with the True Dragon's Essence, the feeling was completely different. Very soon, he could enter the True Dragon Heart refining Tao's cultivation state. Lin Feng's entire body was wrapped in an invisible world force, and the golden dragon on his chest was vivid and lifelike. With the True Dragon origin, Lin Feng's path to becoming a nebula-grade talent soul was destined to be smooth sailing. Not far away, in a small sealed cultivation room. Swoosh! A bright light flashed. The owner of that bright light was Blood Shadow. A hint of madness and fighting spirit appeared in Blood Shadow's eyes. Blood Shadow's fists let out crisp sounds of bones cracking. His blood-red eyes were demonic and firm. Very good, very good. Become stronger. 6 months later. All right. A cry of joy came from the cabin. Lin Feng was overjoyed. After a month of continuous small spatial folds, he had finally ushered in a large-scale spatial leap, which shortened the distance by 2 light years. The distance of 5 light years was reduced to 7 light years. Although this Black Wolf Gold Empire's Standard Series 4 spaceship could reach up to 2 light speed in the dark matter space, Lin Feng did not take the risk. After all, there were no specialized maintenance technicians on the spaceship. If something happened, it would be troublesome. Flying at 1 light speed was the safest. My luck is not bad. At this speed, I can reach Star Sector 1295 in at most half a year. Lin Feng was very excited. He was about to enter the Milky Way. That feeling of nervousness and wonder. He looked at the depths of the spaceship. There was a small cultivation room. This guy. Lin Feng smiled helplessly. Ever since entering the spaceship, Blood Shadow had been cultivating in seclusion. He did not waste any time. It had been half a year since he last saw Blood Shadow. I can't lose to him. Lin Feng sighed. After half a year of cultivation, his True Dragon Heart refining Tao had improved quite a lot. However, he was still far from opening the third aperture of the Heaven's Eye cultivation. If he continued to cultivate in the remaining half a year, his combat strength would not increase by much. It's time to change. Lin Feng did not plan to cultivate the secret techniques of the True Dragon scripture for the time being. This was because the classification of the secret techniques was very clear. Some of them could be used after opening the second aperture, while others could be used after opening the third aperture. Just like the path of origin, a 4-star profound meaning was usually stronger than a 3-star profound meaning. It was too much of a waste of time for him to cultivate a 2-aperture secret technique. The best way was to open the third aperture and cultivate the 3-aperture secret technique directly. As for the origin chapter of the Realm C, he could not cultivate it at all. Increase his combat strength. Lin Feng knew clearly that he would face all kinds of dangers. The stronger he was, the stronger he would be able to protect himself. He had no power or background in the Milky Way. The only thing he could do was to increase his strength as much as possible. True Dragon Armor, True Dragon Protection, True Dragon Armor, True Dragon Spirit, True Dragon Boots, True Dragon Galloping. Lin Feng quickly familiarized himself with the power of the 3-star system level treasures. They were powered by the True Dragon World Force, so they were twice as effective with half the effort. However, it took a lot of effort to cultivate the True Dragon Golden Body, and he barely managed to perform the first stage. Just this part alone took him a full 3 months. However, the effect was quite shocking. Especially, combined with the heaven-hatred state, my body flow is comparable to the T-Rex clone. Lin Feng sighed. The power after performing it shocked even himself. The T-Rex clone's physical fitness was comparable to the same level, and now he could reach this level as well. However, he was just a human. In terms of physical strength, I'm one of the best among the silver platter elites when I go all out. Lin Feng was very confident. In 3 months, the distance was shortened by another one. 8 light-years. He was getting closer and closer to star sector 1295. There's still time. I should consolidate my Tao of origin and profound meaning. Let's try other things. Now, Lin Feng would not let go of any method that could increase his combat strength. Huaxia 7th year, August. It was the 11th month since Lin Feng left Earth. I'm finally here. After finishing his cultivation, Lin Feng looked at the distance shown on the screen. It was shrinking from 0.01 light-years. The spaceship shook continuously, preparing to perform a space jump in the original universe. Position locked. Jump direction confirmed. Activating, the AI system's voice sounded. Lin Feng had been waiting for this day to come. Behind him was Blood Shadow, who had just come out of seclusion. He was also looking forward to it. 11 months of life on the spaceship was finally coming to an end. Rumble, the spaceship started to jump and left the dark matter passage. The clouds in front of him were colorful. As the AI system's voice sounded, Lin Feng's vision became clearer and clearer. Suddenly, the spaceship shook violently and stopped. Wow! Lin Feng opened his eyes wide and looked outside through the window of the spaceship. Spaceships were flying everywhere. Huge bridge-shaped buildings were built between the planet. In the universe, many humans in strange clothes were floating outside the planet. They had arrived at the Milky Way. To be continued. I wish everyone a happy Mid-Autumn Festival. Chapter 1234. They arrived at the space station 1295. Hello, do you need spaceship service? The one who spoke was a young man in uniform. He spoke in the common language of the universe with a professional smile on his face. He bowed slightly and was very polite. Lin Feng, who had just gotten off the spaceship, smiled and shook his head. Thank you, but I don't need it. Every space station had its own services, such as spaceship cleaning, maintenance, parts installation, upgrading, dismantling, and so on. There were even spaceships for sale, but they were only the most common models. Lin Feng waved his hand and stored the spaceship away. Instantly, he attracted a lot of envious gazes. They whispered and tried to find out the identity of this black-clothed young man. A normal spatial storage ring would not be able to store such a huge spaceship, and the value of such a storage ring was not cheap. Why didn't you choose to park it for maintenance? Blood Shadow's voice came into his ears. It's safe, Lin Feng said. This spaceship belonged to the Golden Dragon race. Although it might not be obvious from the outside because it was a standard model, every spaceship had a factory number. If it was parked for maintenance, it might cause trouble. To Lin Feng, this spaceship had already reached the end of its lifespan and would not be used a second time. Next time, he would just buy another spaceship. He didn't lack money. There were many interstellar trains and teleportation points when they left the space station. Although the path of a warrior was divided into the path of strength and energy, even warriors who understood the world and cultivated the path of strength wouldn't reject the convenience of a high-tech life. Where are we going? Blood Shadow asked. There's a Wuzun restaurant in front. Shall we go and have a seat? Lin Feng smiled. Blood Shadow furrowed his brows. Let's go. Don't be so shy. Lin Feng immediately pulled Blood Shadow forward. Clang, clang, clang. In front of the Wuzun restaurant stood many huge space beasts. There were red-eyed and horned tiger-type beasts. There were also ferocious beasts covered in lightning spikes. There was even a three-eyed dragon that was 1/10 the size of the restaurant. They were motionless like statues, but their eyes glowed brightly as they glared angrily at the warriors that entered. "Look below," Blood Shadow said in a low voice. Lin Feng nodded. Below these ferocious beasts, there was an intricate and complicated hexagram formation. It shone brightly and emitted a mysterious power, trapping these ferocious beasts in place. "They're all real," Lin Feng said softly. Many ferocious beasts of the starry sky were stronger than him. There were rank 4, rank 5 and even rank 6, and the strongest one a class 7 star dire beast. He was comparable to a silver core expert. Among level 12 star beasts, level 7 was a watershed. There were very few silver core powerhouses in the entire Blackwolf Gold Empire. To be able to trap a rank 7 ferocious beast here, the strength of this martial-honored restaurant was evident. Lin Feng raised his head and easily saw the 5 shining stars under the signboard. These 5 stars represented the status of the restaurant. The restaurants in the Milky Way were ranked from 1 to 9 stars. There was a unified evaluation standard. Although 5 stars was only average, it was already outstanding in a small star region. The best restaurant in the Black Wolf Gold Empire was only 6 stars. "Let's go," Lin Feng said to Blood Shadow. The two passed through a passage guarded by a class 4 star beast. Every star beast here would release its aura because they were all living creatures of the universe. They were just trapped. Warriors who weren't strong enough and stumbled would be politely asked to leave this passage by the waiters. Before entering the restaurant, they had already divided the warriors into 3, 6, and 9 levels. Martial-honored restaurant, martial arts are respected. Lin Feng had a good first impression of this restaurant. After all, compared to technology, he preferred the path of strength. With his willpower, he could pass through the passage of class 5 star beasts, but there was no need. Those who could enter the passage of class 4 star beasts were basically silver platter powerhouses. Lin Feng and Blood Shadow quickly sat down and ordered. "You have money?" Blood Shadow looked at the price list above and coldly glanced at Lin Feng. "It's enough," Lin Feng said with a smile. 1 universe crystal could be exchanged for 10,000 galaxy dollars. The galaxy dollars were jointly issued by the 7 empires and had become the common currency of the entire Milky Way. A small sum of money was enough for one to gain a foothold in the Milky Way. "Okay." Blood Shadow quickly ordered through the screen. Lin Feng also did as the Romans did. He ordered a few recommended dishes. There were countless delicacies on Earth alone. The Milky Way had 10,000 times more varieties of meat and vegetables than on Earth. This included the seasoning, cooking methods, and so on. The dishes on the screen were enough to dazzle one. If one really looked carefully, it would take a lot of time to finish looking at tens of thousands of dishes. Lin Feng finished ordering and pressed the button. These dishes were all cooked with the most advanced technology. It was guaranteed to be flawless and without any mistake. Soon, plates of delicious dishes were served. There was a dazzling array of dishes. Blood Shadow began to eat heartily. It wasn't that he was hungry, but more of curiosity and novelty. Whether it was Lin Feng or Blood Shadow, they didn't feel hungry at the moment. In other words, hunger could be self-regulated and controlled. Their bodies didn't lack energy, so they naturally wouldn't feel hungry. Lin Feng pricked up his ears while tasting the dishes. The news in the market could let him know more about the recent happenings in Star Sector 1295 and the current situation. Everything about the Jinlong race. The Black Wolf Gold Empire is recruiting again. Are you guys going? Of course not. Who would want to join the army? It's either killing or being killed. You won't even know who you are when you die. I heard that the Black Wolf Army's treatment is very good. I won't go no matter how high the pay is. The Black Wolf Gold Empire has been fighting with the White Flag Empire for the past 100 years. The Black Wolf Gold Empire is dominated by humans, while the White Flag Empire is dominated by demons. They are stronger in one-on-one combat. Every empire had more than one race. Especially humans, demons, and plants. They were the most common on planets with life. Although the Black Wolf Gold Empire was ruled by humans, there were many demons and demons under their command. Recruiting? Lin Feng didn't take it to heart. Of course, he wouldn't join the army. His goal now was simple and clear, which was to uproot the Jinlong race and protect Earth. Don't talk about being a soldier. It's a bummer. Instead of risking your life to fight, it's better to play peacefully. That's right. Have you played the new virtual online game Tyrant Supreme? Not only is it free, but you can also get Galaxy Dollars if you kill monsters. Yesterday, my brother and I killed a big monster in the novice village and got 100 Galaxy Dollars. Damn, that's too violent. I'm tired of that kind of online game. It's not even as fun as the real world. I also think that the real world is fun. It's been open for 33 Galaxy eras. Recently, it seems that they are going to open a new zone. Chapter 1235. Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh. There were many young warriors in the Black Wolf Gold Empire who played online games. Thinking about it, with such a long lifespan, they had to find some interests to pass the time and strengthen their genes. In fact, as long as they had money, with the technology of the Black Wolf Gold Empire, it was not difficult to become a nebula powerhouse. But from the nebula level to the black hole level, it was thousands of times more difficult. Instead of spending a lifetime to reach that level, it was better to think about it and enjoy life happily. Everyone had their own ambitions. However, opened the 33rd Galaxy Era online game. Lin Feng was also in awe. An MMORPG could actually operate for 330,000 years without collapsing. It was truly shocking. A large part of the attraction of games was the novelty, but after the 33rd Galaxy Era, the novelty was probably zero. So, what attracted people must be other aspects. Lin Feng didn't care too much. He didn't have time to play online games. He continued to listen to the sounds around him. Many of them could be found in the AI system, such as the richest family in the 1295th star zone, the strongest force, and so on. There was nothing strange. Lin Feng was even less interested in starting a career here. Let's go. After sitting for a while, Lin Feng was ready to leave. He glanced at the table. The table full of food had been swept away, leaving only leftovers. Lin Feng looked at Blood Shadow. Are you that hungry? Blood Shadow said lightly, Don't you know that demons have a big appetite? Lin Feng exclaimed softly. Logically speaking, Blood Shadow was compatible with the Military Throat Devil Clan, and he was also compatible with the Heaven Hatred Devil Clan. However, his appetite had not changed. Without delving into this question, Lin Feng got up. Go and get your identity information. Blood Shadow nodded. Identity information, the full name was Citizen Identity Information. Checking DNA password, logging in personal data, and identity information were all unified in the Milky Way database and had a unique standard. Entering and exiting the space station didn't require verification of citizenship information, but many activities in the major star zones required verification. Many people came to verify, Blood Shadow said. Lin Feng looked around. The AI system mentioned that 90% of the Black Wolf gene empire is free-range, allowing life to develop freely. Only after developing to Star System 3.0 will it officially belong to the Black Wolf gene empire. Other than warriors from galactic civilizations, there are also warriors from stellar civilizations who can register their citizenship information. According to the Milky Way database, only those who have reached the stellar level can register. Logging in as a citizen was very useful. Firstly, the citizenship was permanent. As long as it was recorded in the Milky Way database, one would be a member of the Milky Way and a member of the Black Wolf gene empire. One would never be enslaved and would be protected by the Black Wolf gene empire. Secondly, only with citizenship could one enjoy the rights of a citizen of the empire, such as participating in auctions, joining the army, obtaining a universal communication card, purchasing a spaceship, entering the Milky Way virtual world, and so on. Of course, with power came responsibility. Citizens had to pay the Empire's citizen tax, and the higher the rank of the citizen, the more tax they had to pay. If they couldn't even pay the minimum citizen tax, their citizenship would be revoked. Generally speaking, those who had the heart to do so, even if they were not strong enough, they could just casually find a job and pay the imperial citizen tax in the Black Wolf Gold Empire to support themselves. However, such citizens were at the bottom of the Milky Way and had no power at all. In other words, they were the so-called lower three-class citizens. What class should we register for? Blood Shadow asked. Whichever class you can register for, Lin Feng said. There were differences in citizenship, so there were differences in power and status. They were unfamiliar with the Milky Way, so it was worth it to spend some money to get a certain guarantee. After all, even the imperial citizen tax of a first-class citizen was not too expensive. While they were talking, a man in brocade clothes with a smile walked over from afar. He seemed to have an extraordinary identity. Are the two of you here to register your citizenship information? Lin Feng and Blood Shadow looked at each other and nodded. The man in brocade clothes smiled and handed over a business card. My surname is Jean and my name is Zhe. I'm the team leader of the New Citizen Association. I'm responsible for helping new citizens familiarize themselves with the environment and adapt to life in the Black Wolf Gene Empire. Lin Feng took the business card. The words written on it were exactly the same as what the man in brocade clothes, Jean Zhe, had said. In addition to his identity, there was also a universal communication number and other information. Oh, Lin Feng replied. Jean Zhe smiled and said, Warriors recommended by our association to register their citizenship information will have the registration fee reduced by half. The imperial citizen tax for the first 10 years will be reduced by 70%, and the imperial citizen tax for the first 100 years will be reduced by 50%. Also, thank you. Lin Feng declined. We don't need it. After saying that, he handed the business card back to Jean Zhe. Lin Feng then walked forward with Blood Shadow. The man in brocade clothes was startled and quickly caught up with them. Please wait for a moment. I don't mean any harm. The establishment of the New Citizen Association is to help new citizens like you gain more benefits. In addition, after registering your citizenship information, we will provide you with temporary basic necessities and help you find a suitable job. Scram! Blood Shadow's eyes glowed red as he shouted unhappily. The murderous aura in his eyes made Jean Zhe's heart palpitate. He paused for a moment. At this time, Lin Feng and Blood Shadow had already walked away. Looking at their backs, Jean Zhe's friendly smile instantly disappeared. Crack! The business card in his hand was crushed. Jean Zhe narrowed his eyes and shot out a cold glint. Humph, two bumpkins. Do you think I won't be able to find you if you don't say anything? Jean Zhe said in a deep voice. Lin Feng and Blood Shadow quickly lined up. There were quite a lot of people registering their citizenship information. There were dozens of long lines, and it was quite lively. Who was that person just now? Blood Shadow asked. I don't know, Lin Feng said. Then why did you reject him so directly? Blood Shadow was puzzled. Lin Feng smiled. I think you told him to scram. Blood Shadow's eyes were cold. He doesn't look like a good person. One who is unaccountably solicitous is hiding evil intentions. Lin Feng smiled. As the old saying goes, don't be greedy. Although I don't know if this new citizen association is real or fake, it's better to be careful. You met the new citizen association? A bearded man in front of the line turned around with a serious expression. Lin Feng looked at the bearded man. What's wrong? The bearded man immediately lowered his voice and said, You didn't believe them. Tell them who you are, right? Lin Feng's eyes lit up. They're scammers? Scammers? Haha. The bearded man sneered and looked murderous. Scammers are much kinder compared to them. Don't be fooled by their appearances. They're actually devils who eat people without spitting out their bones. They use the name of the New Citizen Association to trick new citizens who don't know anything. They're scum from the Black Slave Association, one of the 3 major slave organizations in the Black Wolf Gold Empire. Kara. Chapter 1236. After chatting with the bearded man, Lin Feng and Blood Shadow finally learned the truth. The members of the Black Slave Society arranged for new citizens to register their citizenship information under false pretenses, but in fact, they had other plans. Of course, they wouldn't care about the petty profits in front of them, such as Lin Feng and Blood Shadow. Their target was the planet behind Lin Feng and Blood Shadow. It was a new free-range planet with countless lives. Without citizenship information, there was no guarantee. Once the Black Slave Society found them, the humans on the planet would be marked as slaves, and they would never be able to rise again. Thank you for the information. Lin Feng smiled at the bearded man. You're welcome. The bearded man said, if you are new citizens, I suggest you register your planet and even star information immediately and pay taxes. Then, you won't have to worry about the humans on the planet being enslaved. Lin Feng nodded and smiled. Our planet has already registered its planetary information. Thank you. That's good, that's good. The bearded man smiled and extended his big furry hand. My name is Rong Yi, and I'm from the Scorpion Tiger territory. It's my first time in the 1295 star zone. Scorpion Tiger territory? Lin Feng pondered. The Black Wolf Gold Empire was divided into 3 parts. The smallest part was the 13 star zones and 8,000 small star zones. The second largest part was the solar systems controlled by the family forces. The Scorpion Tiger territory, the Scorpion Tiger race, or a force named after the Scorpion Tiger. Hello. Lin Feng shook his hand. The bearded man, Rong Yi, said generously, it's fate that we met. After registering your citizenship information, why don't we go to the star zone together? Rong Yi patted his chest and said, I'll be the host. No need, Brother Rong. We have other things to do later. Lin Feng said. All right then. Rong Yi said regretfully, if you're interested in joining the Scorpion Tiger race, you can find me at room 55, 127, by Long Technology Building on Yiyun Street. Lin Feng shook his head and said, Brother Rong, you're too kind. We already belong to someone. Is that so? Disappointment flashed across the eyes of the big bearded man, Rong Yi. He smiled and said, It's my turn. I'm sure we'll meet again. After he finished speaking, he walked forward. Very soon, the burly bearded man Rong Yi disappeared from the 2 people's line of sight. You don't believe him? Blood Shadow asked coldly. Lin Feng's answer just now was full of lies. What about you? Lin Feng asked. Shui Ying snorted coldly and disdained to answer. Lin Feng smiled. I forgot that you don't trust anyone. Blood Shadow was silent for a while before he said, There are flaws in his words. Lin Feng nodded. It seemed like he was trying to recruit her, but that might not be the case. If he and Blood Shadow showed even the slightest bit of interest in joining the Scorpion Tiger tribe, it would prove that the 2 of them were not from the territory, because the martial artists in the territory were all directly affiliated to the tribe. It was even more impossible for him to be from a star zone. Basically, star zone warriors would have registered their citizenship information as soon as they reached adulthood. There was only one possibility left. There's no harm in being careful. Lin Feng smiled. The light in front of them had already turned on. Let's go and register our citizenship. There were 3 ways to register citizenship. The first way was to be born in a territory with a force or family that belonged to it. The registration fee was free and the citizen tax was the lowest. The second way was to register one's free-range planet. If the free-range planet was registered, it would be recorded as a territory. If not, the Empire would send someone to take over. The third way was to register directly into the star zone. The price was the most expensive. Please help us register our citizenship in Star Zone 1295, Lin Feng said. He and Blood Shadow could not choose the second way. If they did, they would have to disclose the location of Earth, the location of the solar system, and the star zone would be taken over by the Empire. Although it was expensive to register into Star Zone 1295 and the citizen tax was high, it also had great power and a high status. There were gains and losses. 9th class citizenship. Registration fee is 100 galaxy dollars. Empire citizen tax is 100 galaxy dollars per year. The staff in charge looked up and said, the fee for a 9th class citizenship was not very high, even in the star zone. An ordinary stellar stage warrior could earn the minimum wage of 1 galaxy dollar for 24 hours of work. If they worked half a year, they could earn 182 galaxy dollars. Although the money left after tax was not much, it was barely enough to live on. After all, stellar-level warriors did not have high requirements for food. The cheapest rental was 3 galaxy dollars per month, which was only 36 galaxy dollars a year. I want to register as a 3rd-class citizen. He wants to register as a 4th-class citizen, Lin Feng said directly. A 3rd-class citizen was an upper-class citizen. It was considered a high status in a small star zone. A 4th-class citizen was the highest status among the 3 middle classes. Although it was not as good as a 3rd-class citizen, it was still considered an elite in the star zone. 5th class and above requires an assessment. The staff said, the assessment fee for the 3rd middle-class citizenship is 1,000 galaxy dollars. The assessment fee for the 3rd upper-class citizenship is 10,000 galaxy dollars. It will be settled after registration, Lin Feng said. Go in. The staff pressed a button, and a green fluorescent channel appeared instantly. Lin Feng and Blood Shadow went in. For the 3rd middle-class citizenship, the warrior had to reach the silver spiral galaxy level. It was not only the level of strength but also the combat power. For the 3rd upper-class citizenship, the warrior had to reach the silver plate level. It was the same for the combat power. Soon, Lin Feng entered an enclosed space. Card. Creak. The surroundings lit up with white light, and the patterns on the ground appeared. Lin Feng felt like he had fallen into a fantasy world. Defeat opponent. The clear voice of the AI system rang in his ears. Lin Feng looked ahead. The light gathered and formed a genetic warrior made of silver metal. He attacked him with a beam saber. A 4-element genetic warrior. With one exchange, Lin Feng had a rough idea of his strength. He was stronger than the 4-element genetic warriors of the Golden Dragon race, and focused more on explosive power. He was an orthodox 4-element genetic warrior, equivalent to a silver plate elementary class. Lin Feng smiled. When he defeated Han Mountain that day, his combat power was already equivalent to an intermediate silver plate. Now stronger. Although his combat power was enough to make him a 2nd-class citizen, Lin Feng did not choose it. The difference in status between a 3rd-class citizen and a 2nd-class citizen was not big. Above them were 1st-class citizens and even higher nobles. They could not compare in terms of status. A 3rd-class citizen could already enjoy most of the power in the star zone. You passed. Lin Feng looked at Blood Shadow, who walked out of another room. Blood Shadow nodded. Lin Feng smiled knowingly. Being able to become a 4th-class citizen proved that Blood Shadow's combat power was higher than the silver spiral level. Blood Shadow was perfectly compatible with the demon blood of the military blood tribe. Blood Shadow's improvement was quite fast. However, due to the limitations of his talent, it was difficult for him to reach the 5th level in the Origin Star realm. After paying the registration fee, Lin Feng and Blood Shadow each received a citizen medal that could be imprinted on their chests to represent their identity. The medal was equipped with an AI system and had functions such as communication and storage. They only needed to deposit galaxy dollars into the medal, and the corresponding Empire citizen tax would be automatically deducted every year. To be continued. Chapter 1237. Outside the Citizen Information Building, in a secluded place, how was it? The brocade-clothed man who spoke was Jinja, who had used the name of the new Citizen Association to trick Lin Feng. However, he was not a member of the Black Slave Association but a small leader of the Qingfeng Tower. Boss, we failed. Rong Yi's expression was ugly. He gritted his teeth and said, "These two brats are stubborn. They're hard to deal with." The brocade-clothed man's eyes twitched when he heard this. Boss, could there be a mistake? Those two brats might really be martial artists from some territory. The bearded man Rong Yi said in a low voice, "They shouldn't be wary of me, so they should be telling the truth." Idiot! Jinja slapped Rong Yi hard. How can a liar be deceived? Rong Yi staggered. Boss, I am telling the truth. Jinja flew into a rage and pointed at Rong Yi's chest with his finger, like a chicken pecking rice. I have seen more people than you have eaten rice. Those two boys, whether it is their demeanor, action, behavior or expression, everything tells me that they are newcomers. Newcomers from a new free-range galaxy. As the leader of Qingfeng Tower, Jinja was very experienced. He had deceived at least 80,000 people, if not 100,000. Even though he had not observed Lin Feng and Blood Shadow for long, he was already 100% sure of their origins. Boss, should we? Rong Yi asked hesitantly. Newcomers are usually 9th-class citizens. Tell Scarface Li and Second-Rate Chen to get ready to trick them. Jinja's eyes were sharp as he said insidiously, I don't believe they won't show any flaws. Humph, I'll teach them the rules of the Star Zone. What's identity and status? Jinja raised his head. The 5th-class citizen medal on his chest shone brightly. As a member of the Qingfeng Tower, Jinja knew the rules of the Blackwolf Gene Empire. But boss. Rong Yi still wanted to say something. What buts? Jinja glared at Rong Yi. Do as I say. Are you the boss or am I the boss? No, boss. Rong Yi said with a bitter face. Our status is not as high as theirs. Jinja was stunned. Instantly, they traced Rong Yi's gaze and saw the two rookies walking towards them. The citizen medals on their chests indicated that one was a 4th-class citizen, while the other they were 3rd-class citizens. What? Jinja's eyes widened in disbelief. For a 3rd-class citizen, the examination fee alone was 10,000 galaxy dollars. The Empire's citizen tax was 10,000 every year. The biggest expense was the information registration fee, which cost a whopping 100,000 galaxy dollars. As for him, he could not even earn 10,000 galaxy dollars a year. Are you thinking about how to scheme against us? A voice drifted over. It was none other than Lin Feng and Blood Shadow. Although Jinja was taken aback, he was experienced. He immediately put on a flattering smile and said, Misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. Lin Feng laughed involuntarily. I didn't say anything. Jinja hurriedly said, Sir, you have an imposing appearance. One look and I can tell that you are not a fish in a pond. We are just trying to make a living, so please don't hold a grudge against this lowly one. Please don't take the previous matter to heart. This lowly one apologizes to you here. As he spoke, Jinja kept bowing. He looked very sincere. To Jinja, he did not know the identity of the two young men in front of him. He would rather lower his head and not offend them. In this line of work, Jinja had his own way of surviving. He did not care about his face and dignity. His life was the most important. On the other side, Rong Yi also lowered his head in panic. Lin Feng smiled. Let me guess. Are you from the Golden Tiger Gang or the Qingfeng Tower? Lin Feng's casual voice made Jinja, who was bowing and apologizing, tremble. The Golden Tiger Gang is violent and unreasonable. They bully and dominate the market. The Qingfeng Tower is like a dagger revealing its edge. They are crafty and insidious. They are best at scheming. Your style is more like that of the Qingfeng Tower. Lin Feng said. There were three major slave organizations in the Black Wolf Gene Empire: the Black Slave Gang, the Golden Tiger Gang, and the Qingfeng Tower. The bearded man, Rong Yi, had said that he was from the Black Slave Gang. Seeing him here, the Black Slave Gang could be ruled out. Only one of the two was left. It was most likely the Qingfeng Tower. Jinja's expression changed instantly. His eyes flashed fiercely. In an instant, he changed from a fox to a wolf. He said fearfully, "Who are you? What do you want?" "Relax. We mean no harm," Lin Feng said. Jinja was still very vigilant. At this moment, Blood Shadow took a step forward. A terrifying murderous aura pressed on Jinja, causing the latter to stagger backward. "Take me to the person in charge. I want to join the Qingfeng Tower." Jinja was stunned when he heard the sound of his landing. "Join? This is the deposit." Lin Feng threw out a universe crystal. It was worth 10,000 galaxy dollars. Jinja was stunned. This universe crystal was more than his annual income. "You are." Jinja's brain could not process it. Lin Feng said, "As long as you recommend him to join the Qingfeng Tower, you will be paid the remaining 90%. If you are not willing, we will not force you. But if you agree to it, then you must do it properly. Otherwise..." Lin Feng's eyes suddenly sharpened, causing Jinja's thin body to tremble. Jinja swallowed his saliva as he showed his mercy. "Okay." Jinja was also a smart person. "Since the two of you think highly of me, I will definitely help you." Jinja looked at Blood Shadow, who was full of murderous aura, and laughed strangely. "This big brother does not need to pretend. His temperament is qualified. To join the Qingfeng Tower, one's background is very important. I think this big brother does not want to be a small leader in the future, right? Don't worry. Leave it to me. I will take your money and satisfy the big brothers." Jinja vowed solemnly. Without saying anything else, Lin Feng watched Jinja, Blood Shadow, and the others leave. Swish, there was a flash of light. Lin Feng sighed softly. Actually, he did not approve of Blood Shadow's actions, but he had no right to interfere. He knew that Blood Shadow was proud and did not want to be given charity, especially by himself. The Qingfeng Tower is different from the Black Slaves Society. It is a huge force. Lin Feng knew the Qingfeng Tower very well. It was not just a slave organization. In fact, the Qingfeng Tower was involved in many things. Their comprehensive strength was ranked in the top 10 in the Black Wolf Gold Empire. Joining the Qingfeng Tower might not be a good path, but it was at least a feasible one. That's good. It might not be a good thing for the two of us to be together. Lin Feng smiled. He and Blood Shadow had different styles and personalities. It was most suitable for them to walk their own path. If something happened to him, at least, Earth would have another hope. Blood Shadow was not bad by nature. Phew, Lin Feng sighed softly. He touched the third-class citizen medal on his chest and walked forward. Next, it was his turn. To be continued. Chapter 1238. Having a citizen medal meant that one was officially a member of the Black Wolf Gene Empire and was protected by the Empire's laws. Fighting and killing were prohibited in the Star Zone. The light punishment was imprisonment, while the heavy punishment was execution. The Empire's laws were very strict. Of course, you could try to challenge it, but the prerequisite was you had enough money. Finally, I'm not an illegal resident. Lin Feng headed to the Star Zone teleportation point. Each star zone was actually a huge solar system, and each planet was a part of the Star Zone. For example, the 1295 Star Zone included 36 planets and 156,378 small planets. Each planet had been modified to be habitable and connected by teleportation points. Planet 17. Lin Feng showed his third-class citizen medal and paid the teleportation fee. Yes, sir. The staff bowed respectfully and activated the teleportation point. Only third-class citizens and above could become official residents of Planet 17. It was also where the Golden Dragon race was stationed. Although the Golden Dragon race controlled 17 solar systems, it was essential to have a base in the star zone. This meant that it was connected to the Black Wolf Gene Empire. After all, the territory could be attacked. Lin Feng arrived at Planet 17. The climate didn't change much. The temperature was the same every year, and the spirit chi was stable. However, most of the people walking around were cosmic system states. Only the staff were at the star state. "How can I help you, sir?" A clever-looking youth came over and showed his white teeth. Lin Feng looked at the youth. He wasn't tall and had a skinny figure. "I want to find a place to stay." The skinny youth quickly said, "Sir, do you want to stay for a long time or a short time?" Lin Feng shook his head. "I want a good place with high security and good environmental conditions. Money is not a problem." The gift given by his teacher was enough for Lin Feng. If he wanted to deal with the Golden Dragon race, he had to make sure he was well hidden. It was convenient to be in the dark. The skinny youth raised his brows. "In that case, sir, why don't you go to the Night Star Hotel? This is the most luxurious hotel chain in the Black Wolf Gene Empire. It was built by the Night Alliance, but it's a bit expensive." Night Alliance. The top 10 forces in the Black Wolf Gene Empire. Their reputation and power were top-notch. "What price?" Lin Feng asked. The skinny young man said, "Even the most ordinary suite costs 100,000 galaxy dollars a year." 100,000 galaxy dollars. It was almost equivalent to a normal silver platter expert's annual salary. It should be known that a third-class citizen's annual tax was only 10,000 galaxy dollars. 100,000 galaxy dollars a year. An ordinary person could not afford it. "Lead the way," Lin Feng said. The skinny youth widened his eyes and said, "Yes, sir. This way, please." There were many local escorts like the skinny young man in every star zone. They were mainly responsible for guiding, leading the way, and earning some tip. After all, there were too many planets in a star zone, and interplanetary teleportation was common. Soon, the skinny young man brought Lin Feng to the Night Star Hotel and left happily after receiving the tip. If they met a generous local tycoon, a single fee would be enough to fill their wallet. "Hello, sir." The beautiful waitress smiled sweetly and bowed respectfully. Lin Feng nodded and stepped in. This was a hotel with a galactic background. It was made of silver-black metal, and gems as bright as stars decorated the space. None of the warriors here were stellar level. Even the beautiful waitress just now, they were all genetic soul warriors. "I want to stay here," Lin Feng said. "Do you have any special requests?" The beautiful waitress smiled and asked. "For example?" Lin Feng said. The beautiful waitress maintained her professional smile. "For example, the needs of your taste buds, the pleasure of your mind, the satisfaction of your body, or a special training environment." Lin Feng smiled. She said it very elegantly. According to what the local escort said, as long as you could think of a request, the Night Star Hotel would satisfy it. Of course, the prerequisite was that you had enough galaxy dollars. "Is my identity confidential if I stay here?" Lin Feng asked. "Of course, sir." The beautiful waitress smiled and pointed. "Our suites are absolutely confidential. If you need complete privacy, I suggest you choose a galactic villa." Lin Feng looked in the direction of the beautiful waitress's finger. The fluorescent board clearly showed the information of 4 types of suite: planet-level suites, stellar-level houses, galactic villas, and the highest universe palaces. The prices were not equal. Planet-level suites cost 100,000 galaxy dollars per year, while galactic villas cost 1 million galaxy dollars per year. "Okay." Lin Feng's calm voice caused the beautiful attendant to be slightly surprised. She didn't think that such an inconspicuous young man would have such wealth. However, the beautiful attendant didn't show too much emotion and continued to maintain her professional smile. "This way, please, sir. Please show your identity and the deposit for 10 years. In the Milky Way there was basically no concept of day and month. After all, the day of every planet was different. Some days might be 5 hours, some 12 hours, and some even 100 hours. The units of time here were divided into years and epochs. One galaxy epoch was equivalent to 10,000 years. Okay. Lin Feng took out 1,000 cosmos crystals and paid for 10 years. To him, this was nothing. The cosmos crystals he gave to the Death Anniversary realm to fill in the Origin Star realm were in the tens of thousands. The true Dragon Monarch was a famous black hole warrior after all. He would not be stingy to his disciple. After paying, the beautiful waitress brought Lin Feng to the galactic villa. Although she still maintained her professional sweet smile, her tone was completely different. My name is Lan Hui. You can call me Xiaolan. I am a 6-star waitress here. If you have any requests, you can look for me directly. As she spoke, the beautiful waitress Lan Hui took out a name card and gently placed it in Lin Feng's palm. Her sweet smile was charming and charming. Okay. Lin Feng replied with a smile. The Night Galactic Hotel was complicated. It was indeed worthy of its name. It was as if they were really in the galaxy. Soon, they arrived under the guidance of the beautiful waitress Lan Hui. Do you have any other orders? The beautiful waitress Lan Hui asked sweetly. Not at the moment. Thank you. Lin Feng nodded and opened the door of the villa. Okay, sir. Lan Hui's beautiful eyes flashed with disappointment. She bowed and left. Lin Feng entered the villa and his eyes lit up. What entered his eyes was a spiral golden staircase. The clear and unique pure white floor was quite luxurious. Even the spirit energy was denser than outside. Just as Lan Hui had said, the star system level mansion was basically the best. Universe-level palaces were mostly prepared for people with special identities. 1 million galaxy dollars a year. Lin Feng smiled. Expensive. There must be a reason for it. Kara,